Chapter 401. It's just a mode. Chapter 401. It's just a mode. All along, Chen Zhao knew from their conversations that their relationship was really bad. In fact, Robio had a poor relationship with not just Ethan, but also Caprice. Chen Zhao had no idea why the family of three would view each other as enemies. Luckily, Wright arrived in time to separate Robio and Ethan. Chen Zhao was really scared that the two might end up in a fight, which would be a tricky situation to handle. Moreover, if they did, Chen Zhao would not know who to help. Right, you look amazing today. Haha, you're still so sweet. Chen Zhao helped Wright get into the house and introduced her to Fei Lai. Fei Lai just realized that the elder before her was the principal of ULCA and also Four's teacher. Nonetheless, Wright did not stay for long. She did not enjoy the noisy party atmosphere, after all. She visited the house and praised Robio's design, after which she left by herself. The party was still in full swing, but Chen Zhao realized that Leonardo was busy asking for numbers again. Leonardo, come here. Chen, what's up? How's your partner, Rose? How are the two of you? I don't want to talk about her. What happened? While Chen Zhao had only met Rose once, he felt that Rose should be into Leonardo. However, they apparently did not have a good time. Can you tell me what happened? I don't want to talk about it. Fine. Chen Zhao shrugged. He could not help Leonardo if Leonardo would not tell him the situation. Anyway, you don't chase girls like this. Firstly, you can't just go around and ask for their numbers. Then what should I do? First, you cannot let her feel uncomfortable. So what do I do? Leonardo asked patiently. Tell me, what did you say to them? May I have your number, please? Leonardo answered. And? That's all. Chen Zhao rubbed his forehead. First of all, you shouldn't pick someone who has friends around, whether her friends are guys or girls. Why? If there are a few girls together, don't I get a better chance? Of course you get a better chance. If you're charming enough, you might hook all of them, but if you can't even get one of them, do you think it'll work? Also, women have chain reactions. If one of them likes you, then the others will also like you. If one hates you, then the rest will hate you as well. If any of them thinks that you're too low, then, in order to maintain consistency in their style, they'll all reject you. Do you understand? All right, so what should I do? Leonardo was a good student because was eager to learn. But no teacher would want to teach him. Do you see the girl who's drinking alone beside the bar counter? Her name's Bradley's, Fei Lai's colleague. She doesn't really mix with the other girls. Leonardo nodded. Yes, she looks pretty. That's not the important thing. Listen to me. Okay. Hi, are you alone? Chen Zhao said. She will look at you and then nod. And then? It's really noisy here. Do you want to go outside instead? There are many people outside too, Leonardo said. Go to the waterfall. Nobody's there. Isn't it even noisier there? What an idiot. It's noise from the people, not the environment. Also, throw away the can of beer. Go to the counter and take a bottle of red wine. Chen Zhao patted Leonardo's shoulder. Leonardo mustered his courage and walked toward the girl named Bradley's. David approached Chen Zhao. Chen, are you teaching Leonardo how to hook up with a girl? Chen Zhao and David touched their cans of beer. I'm just worried that he'll chase all the girls in the party away. If that happens, there will be no girls in my parties ever again. Do you think he will succeed? That girl probably just broke up with someone. If someone can walk into her heart now, she'll accept him quickly. Chen Zhao glanced at David. How about you? How are you and Kate? Not bad, although we're both very busy with work. Yeah, a cop and a reporter. Chen Zhao did not think that their relationship could last for long. Although Kate really admired David, it was only because of the distance between them. Should they live together, the mystery and fun would all disappear. Furthermore, both David and Kate were very independent. This is what happens in romantic relationships. When both parties are too dominant, cracks will start to form. On the other hand, if one party is stronger than the other, the relationship would be more stable. For example, Laurent had always been the weak one and Winip was more dominant in their family. Of course, as one of his principals, Chen Zhao would not interfere with another person's relationships, even if the person was his good friend. No matter how close he and David were, he was but an outsider in David's romantic relationship. Chen Zhao had neither the right nor the reason to interfere. Even though David claimed that the relationship was quite stable, Kate did not come to the party, which could be a sign. Chen Zhao had only been in love twice, once in college and now with Fei Lai, but he knew quite a lot about relationships. The reality was not a movie or drama. You've had quite a lot of alcohol tonight. I think it's better for you to stay here overnight, Chen Zhao suggested. Will that be convenient for you? The thing is, I need someone to help me clean the place up. Can I say no? No, Chen Zhao said, smiling. Just then, Sienna approached the two of them. Chun, come here. What's happening? Why are you acting so suspiciously? David asked curiously. What's in the basement? What? Did she see Hellhound? Or perhaps Little Nine? The skeleton. Sienna stared at Chen Zhao with a serious face. The skeleton? It's a craft that I've hired someone to make. It's not real. Chen Zhao found an excuse. You can't trick me. The skeleton's real. Chun, what skeleton? Did you kill someone and hide their skeleton here? David was shocked. What are you thinking? Chen Zhao rolled his eyes and looked at Sienna. How do you know that it's real? Chapter 402, Most Dangerous Wizard. Chapter 402, Most Dangerous Wizard. The aura on it is too obvious, Sienna said. It's a magical aura. I'm sure that it was very strong before death. Is it your prey? Chun, take me to see it. I want to see what prey it is. David instantly grew excited. Chen Zhao didn't reject them. After all, David had seen supernatural powers with them before. He counted as a member of their circle. Chen Zhao brought Sienna and David to the basement. David instantly saw the huge skeleton that circled the wall. So big. What was it when it was alive? It doesn't have a name. It's just a monster. You could actually kill something so strong. Even though only the bones remain, I can still feel that it contains strong magic power. Can you give me a bone? I'm keeping it here to look pretty. If you take away a bone, my collection will be ruined. It's too wasteful for you to put it here. What are you going to use it for? To make a magical potion, obviously. Magical potion? Chen Zhao thought for a moment. He was getting more and more reliant on magic when treating some difficult patients. Every time he finished, he would be mentally and physically exhausted. If he could improve his magical abilities, it would be a great help to his career. I can't give you this, but I can get you some other bones, Chen Zhao said. I'll help you get some later, but you have to share the magic potion with me. Sure. Oh, Chun, you're here? Just then, Normans and Evely walked down the spiral staircase. They saw Chen Zhao and his two friends. What's this? It looks so realistic. Is it a dinosaur model? Evely asked curiously. Normans touched a bone. It feels special too. No, a Hollywood prop master made it. I see weird creatures in movies all the time, so I paid a prop team to make this for me. It feels so special, Evely said. It's different from bones. Of course, Chen Zhao said. After all, it wasn't cheap. Putting a model like this in a dark basement. You're seriously creepy. Sienna pretended to shiver. Let's go up. Chen Zhao shrugged. Let's go. There's nothing to look here. Let's go up. Everyone in the front yard was having fun. Del was bragging about his past. Something about skydiving, deep-sea diving, or what mountains he'd climbed. Uncle Chun, I want to see your magic tricks, Faith said, tugging Chen Zhao's pants. Chen, I want to see your magic too, Risfar said. How about you do a trick? Chen Zhao snapped his fingers and turned his hand. A coin was between his fingers. He turned his hand again and the coin disappeared. I can see these tricks on TV every day, Risfar teased. Do something harder. Chen Zhao chuckled. He put his hands together. Then coins of various sizes kept slipping out of the cracks. Pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters fell out endlessly. Soon, the ground was covered in coins. Everyone was amazed at this. Chen Zhao wore short sleeves, so he couldn't hide so many coins in his hands. Chen Zhao piled the coins together. Then he wiped his hands over the pile, and the coins all disappeared. Sienna looked at him in confusion. Was this a magic trick or spell? If it was a spell, how come she couldn't feel anything? Uncle, can you do something bigger? Chen Zhao separated his hands slowly. A bottle of wine appeared between his palms. But then he put his hands together and the wine disappeared. Okay, please clap now. Everyone started clapping and cheering. Chen Zhao finally took out the bottle of wine happily. Chun, where did you hide this wine? Dell asked curiously. How come I couldn't see it at all? Magic is magic. I can't tell you. If you want to know, then go think of the answer yourself. Chen Zhao chuckled. Just then, the phone rang. The performance is over. Keep having fun. He went somewhere without people and answered the call. It was from Pierce South. Chun, Pierce, how can I help you? Chun, I'm outside your door. Taken aback, Chen Zhao went to the door. He saw Pierce South standing in the shadows with a robed man. Pierce, Mr. Chun, let me introduce you to Jaisha from India. Hello, Mr. Jaisha. Chun, Jaisha and I are here today to work with you. For that king of the sun golden chalice? Yes. I don't believe that you can be so careless. Such an important thing. Chen Zhao cut Pierce off. Pierce, please let me maintain the last bit of a good impression I have of you. That diary is already burned. I didn't know how important it was until you told me the true background of the diary. Fine. Chen, I hope you can think about it carefully. We can share the Sun King Gold Cup, because everyone can only take the effect of one mouthful. Working together is good for everyone. Pierce, you're not welcome here. Please leave. Chen Zhao finally tried driving him away. He hated how Pierce South kept clinging to him. That diary belonged to him. He could share it if he wanted to. If he didn't want to, no one could force him to do so. Pierce South and Jaisha could only turn and leave. In the darkness, Pierce asked, How is it? Did you get a result? He lied, Jaisha said. That diary is still here. Are you sure? Of course. Jaisha pulled a python out. It had a pentagon on its head. My baby tells me that the Chinese man is lying. Pierce's face darkened. So that guy wants to take it for himself? It seems to be the case. What solution do you have? Since he's unwilling to cooperate, I'll have to make him feel pain, Jaisha said confidently. I'll make him come beg me. That Chinese man is really strong. He's not a typical wizard. You best be careful. I won't go face to face. Only barbarians do that. An eerie smile appeared on Jaisha's face. Hiss, hiss. Terrifying noises came from Jaisha's sleeve. Pierce glanced at him. This was why he'd asked Jaisha to come. Jaisha was a wizard like him, but he was the most dangerous wizard of all. Chapter 403, Snakes. Chapter 403, Snakes. Rinse these. David, throw these into the bin. All the guests except David and Leonardo had left. As Chen Zhao cleaned the place up, he asked, Leonardo, can you tell me why you failed again? I was holding her hand. Sitting by the waterfall, both David and Chen Zhao stopped what they had been doing. In their opinion, if a woman was willing to follow a man to a waterfall when it was dark and quiet, something ought to happen. And then for some reason, she kept staring at me. And then? I asked her if she was tired. A bit, she said. And then? I said, if you're tired, you can go and rest. I'll continue to sit here, Leonardo said with a long face. Chen Zhao and David dashed toward Leonardo and showered him with their fists. Stop! Why are you punching me? Just then, Feilai, who had been in the living room, also walked out. She gloated. She hoped that she could sleep with you in the guest room, but I wasn't tired. That's why they're hitting you. Suddenly, Leonardo slapped his forehead. Oh, I get it. I missed such a good opportunity. It's too late, unfortunately. Oh, there's a snake here. David suddenly used a pole to pick a snake up. Is it Raymond's relative? No, throw it into the lake. Chen Zhao shook his hand. I think it's a saw-scaled viper, Leonardo said. What about it? Do you recognize the snake? Recently, 2 people in our police area have died to this venomous species, Leonardo said. You should be careful. Try not to go out at night, especially the wild, David said. Chen, you and Feilai should be very careful. Your house is kind of in the wild. No, the two victims died in their homes. Did the snakes climb into their homes? Saw-scaled vipers are only found in Asian tropical regions, mainly India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, and they're most abundant in the Indian subcontinent. They're venomous and very aggressive, Leonardo said. You mean there shouldn't be any of them in America? Yes. Also, you should have killed the snake instead of throwing it away. It'll be really troublesome if there's a species invasion, and people might get hurt, given how aggressive they are. Zhao squinted. Coincidence? He hoped that it was just a coincidence. Huh, my snake died. Some coldness flashed across Jasha's eyes. Seems like I've still underestimated him, but he won't be so lucky again. When Pierce South saw Jasha release about a dozen venomous snakes onto the ground, he frowned. With so many snakes, you'll kill him. If he dies, how should we find the nautical dairy? It doesn't matter whether he's dead or not. We can go into his house and search for the dairy ourselves. Fine. Pierce found the plan sensible. Anyway, he was not going to be the murderer, so he was not worried at all. After showering, David and Leonardo went to sleep. Zhao cast Banshee's charm on them to give them a better rest. On the other hand, Zhao and Feilai sat by the lake with their feet in the water. It was a rare period of peacefulness. Just then, a few heads surfaced from the lake. Little Nine could finally bring its heads out of the water. Immediately, Hellhound did the same. They had such a boring time in basement 2 and could not wait to breathe some fresh air. Hellhound began to run wildly in the darkness. Woof woof. Suddenly, Hellhound started to bark loudly at some grass. Huh, did they see something? Feilai asked. Zhao could hear the violence in Hellbound's barking. Then, he saw Hellhound slap the ground with their paw, and something was thrown toward him. Huh, it's a poisonous snake. It was a deadly mini-banded kite. However, the mini-banded kite was only found in Asia, mainly Central and Southern China and Southeast Asia. Why would there be a mini-banded kite here? Swish. Suddenly, one of Little Nine's heads seized the snake that had just been killed by Hellhound and swallowed it. Unlike normal snakes that would swallow their prey whole, Little Nine would chew its food. Zhao's face darkened. He could confirm that someone was causing all this. The most suspicious person was the Indian named Jasha. Given that he was a friend of Pierce, he was very likely a wizard too. Zhao would not be surprised if he had been controlling all the snakes. Nevertheless, the ability was really impossible to guard. Feilai, you should go in first. I think there might be quite a lot of venomous snakes around. I'll ask them to clean all the snakes up before they start to affect our quality of life. Sure, be careful, Feilai nodded. After Feilai went into the house, Zhao's face darkened and he summoned Raymond, Beelzebub, Carrie, Walter, the Silly Twins, and Princess. Carrie was instructed to protect Feilai, while Beelzebub and Raymond were asked to watch David and Leonardo. Zhao was unsure if any snakes had already entered the house, so he had to be careful. At this hour, it was clearly impossible for Zhao to search for all the snakes by himself. Walter, the Silly Twins, and Princess all had very high resistances against poison, so they would not die even if they were bitten. Go and find every single snake around here. Just then, Blackie floated toward him. That's too much work. Let me point them to you. Zhao slapped his forehead. Blackie could see souls, including those of snakes. Even in the darkness, Blackie could still pinpoint the snake souls. Blackie, check if any snakes have entered the house. I already did that. There was none. With Blackie's promise, Zhao could finally heave a sigh of relief. Shit, all my babies are dead. Fuck, fuck, fuck. How dare he? How dare he hurt my babies like this? Jasha roared madly. Jasha, is that all you have? Pierce South was very unhappy. The two of them had already been standing in the darkness for a few hours, with mosquitoes everywhere. Pierce would not have stayed with the manic wizard if not for the nautical dairy. For the entire night, Pierce had been listening to Jaisha's roaring. Do you want to see my true power? Fine, I'll show it to you. Suddenly, Jaisha grabbed the cobra, which struggled in discomfort. However, Jaisha pulled the cobra with more and more force. Snap! The cobra was torn into two. Jaisha stuffed the two pieces into his mouth and chewed them. As Pierce watched, he was utterly disgusted. Then, Jaisha's stomach suddenly became bloated, after which he began to vomit, his abdomen, neck, and mouth all somewhat enlarged. Soon, a large python was spat out of his mouth, covered in some kind of viscous liquid. It looked really nasty. After vomiting the python out, Jaisha became very weak. Go, eat every single person in that house. Chapter 404. Magic is indeed used for getting food. Chapter 404. Magic is indeed used for getting food. Jaisha was tall and thin, and he looked like he was malnourished. But even with that body, he spat out a 10-meter-long python. Of course, Pierce knew that this was Jaisha's special magic. He'd heard long ago that Jaisha's magic came from the snake god of India. This spell called Snake Reborn was especially evil and sinister. Apparently, this spell could turn all of the user's magic and vitality into a divine snake. This snake would listen to the user's orders and eat his enemies, then return back into the user's body. The swallowed vitality would then belong to the user. Jaisha's title as the most dangerous wizard wasn't unfounded. Just in the time he spent in L.A., he already killed 2 people. The python looked terrifying. It was like a monster python from a movie. It didn't have any of the laziness that snakes usually had and slipped into the lake with a whoosh. This python was practically undefeatable on land. No creature could counter it. Even lions, tigers, and bears would flee at sight. Hey, there's a big guy in the water, Blackie suddenly said. Such strong vitality. Is it powerful? Zhao couldn't see the lake, so he couldn't help worrying. Similar to Princess, Blackie said. What level was Princess at now? It wasn't an exaggeration to say that she was the strongest creature on Earth, but now there was a creature at the same level as her. Amon, drag it into the water, Zhao commanded immediately. If this thing reached land, it would probably be a difficult battle. In this case, he'd just make sure it couldn't get onto land. After getting Zhao's order, Amon complained while acting. He'd already found the thing and sent a message to Zhao. It's a python? Another snake? It was definitely Jaisha messing around. Just swallow it. Getting Zhao's command, Amon opened his mouth and swallowed the python. The python may have no enemies on land, but it was facing Amon, who was 100 times bigger than it and the Lord of the Sea. It was powerless and couldn't even struggle. Amon took a bit. Pure life essence spurted into his mouth, and he instantly grew spirited. Wow, such pure vitality. What vitality? Zhao asked in confusion. This python probably isn't a normal creature. It may be born from magic, but creatures like this need matching vitality to support it. The stronger the vitality offered, the stronger its power and body. Then Amon added, tasty? Jaisha suddenly yelled. Blood spewed out of his mouth. Monster, monster. Pierce South was in disbelief. What had happened? Seriously, what had happened? Why did Jaisha have this reaction? Why was he yelling monster? Immediately after, Jaisha's body started shriveling up. He reached out an arm that looked like a withered branch. Help me, help me. But he shriveled up faster and faster. Crack. His arm couldn't bear the weight anymore. It snapped right in front of Pierce. There wasn't a drop of blood at the breakage. Pierce stepped back in fear. He watched as Jaisha quickly died. Finally, his body collapsed completely, spilling onto the ground like a pile of dirt. Pierce shuddered. He couldn't stay here. He had to leave as fast as possible. That Chinese man was more dangerous than he'd imagined. Damn it. He shouldn't have attacked directly. Now, Zhao would know it had something to do with him. Little Nine swam around Amon, eating the leftover bits. To Little Nine, even Amon's leftovers were enough for a full meal. Zhao sat beside the lake. His expression was still dark. He'd moved to a new home, but he ran into trouble the second day. He had to solve this problem. The new home's defense was too weak too. He had to fortify it. Blackie, I want to add some defenses. Do you have any ideas? It's time to use my dead soul magic and those bones. Yeah, I said those bones are useful, right? What should we do? Scatter the bones around Mirror Lake. Bury them underground. If there are people with bad intentions, I'll be able to know immediately. But you know I can't kill people, so I think you should learn some necromancy spells. Zhao got a bigger headache. Learning those spells wasn't a problem. The problem was that his magic was too weak now. It seemed that he had to move magic up his priority list. First, he had to find time to visit Hell. He would move some bones over from Samuel's nest. Samuel always ate those strong demons. Even the bones still contained strong magical power. Sienna could make magic potions, so he would get some from her. However, he didn't know how effective it would be. Blackie surveyed the surroundings again. After confirming that no one was there, Zhao went back to rest. He didn't have a good night's sleep, though. It was all because of that Pierce South. And that Geisha. If Zhao caught them, he would definitely feed them to the dogs. He didn't know yet that his wish would never come true. After all, Geisha had already died, indirectly in his hands. Zhao spent the entire night thinking about how to strengthen the house's defenses. He didn't worry about any enemies coming inside the house, but the other never did it face to face. They always came secretly. If they had put 10 more snakes and Blackie wasn't here, it would be truly hard to defend the house. Failai especially couldn't protect herself. If she was bitten by a poisonous snake, things would get worse. Blackie's suggestion was to use dead soul magic and bury those bones. This plan was nice, but a slow remedy couldn't address the current emergency. The enemy wouldn't wait for him to improve in magic or make all the necessary preparations. Unwilling to sleep, Zhao climbed out of bed and started checking the house's blueprint. Of course, the best solution was to kill Pierce South and Geisha. They wouldn't appear obediently before Zhao, though. He would visit Pierce's house tomorrow. If Zhao saw him, he would definitely twist Pierce's head off and use it as a soccer ball. Chapter 405, Gimme a Combo. Chapter 405, Gimme a Combo. While it was still dark, Pierce South snuck into a deep alley. The alley was filled with a stench. It had clearly been a long time since the trash containers were last cleared. The entire alley was enveloped in darkness, with sewage seeping out from the ground. Pierce quickly covered his nose. He would not be here if not for the dire situation. He walked further in and eventually stopped before a rusty iron door. Clank, clank. The iron door produced a loud noise. Then, Pierce heard a voice from inside. Come in. Pierce South pushed the door open. The room was similarly very dim. Crash. Pierce had accidentally knocked a jar. Just then, Pierce heard another voice, which he found rather awkward. You've broken my experiment equipment. $1,000. Pierce immediately pulled out his wallet and said, Ms. Rupert, hi, I'm Pierce South. I think you should remember me. Nope, Ms. Rupert answered rudely in the darkness. It was really awkward. Pierce picked himself up and continued, Ms. Rupert, I need your help. Then, a neon light sign beside her lit up. Business scope, revenge, $2,000 plus. Extramarital affairs investigation, $10,000 plus. Stealing a specified item, $1,000 plus. Looking at the complicated business scope, Pierce South felt that he had entered the wrong place. Ms. Rupert, I would like to hire you to deal with a sorcerer. Huh. Oh, I see. Sorry. The sign dimmed, and another sign lit up. Various curses, $10,000 plus. Evil spirit harassment, $10,000 plus. Nightmare harassment, $10,000 plus. Diseases, $3,000 each. Divination, $1,000 each time. Attacking a witch/wizard, $100,000 each, whether successful or failed. Ms. Rupert, can you please turn the lights on? I would like to talk to you face to face. The room was really dim, so Pierce could only roughly see a shadow. Air. The lights are broken. Let's just speak like this. All right, I need you to attack a wizard. He just killed Viper Jasha from India's snake god clan, so I need your help. So he's very powerful? Rupert asked. Yes, very. Then I recommend a combo for you. Attack him plus evil spirit harassment plus nightmare harassment. Discounted price, $120,000. Where's the discount again? I won't charge you for the conversation. Pierce was already regretting his decision. Nevertheless, Rupert was the most famous witch in Los Angeles, and Pierce had no other choices. If Zhao found him, he would be dead for sure. After some hesitation, Pierce said, I want him dead. Murder is illegal. Not if you do it with magic and don't get caught. Fine, $1 million. Wait, why is it so expensive? I'm a witch with principles. Why would I violate my own principles without a sufficient price? The combo you just said, to what extent can you injure him? That would depend on how strong he is. Pierce was dissatisfied, but there was nothing else he could do. When would you begin? Depends on my mood. No, I mean depends on whether I can find an opportunity. Zhao went to town and asked around. Pierce had actually moved away a month ago. The chemical plant that he had been working in had fired him for some unknown reason. Zhao was very annoyed by this, but he had nowhere to vent his anger. He had to move on. Clearly, he would not travel everywhere just to look for Pierce. Then, Zhao went to the hospital. Tiger's arms had already healed. Zhao first helped Tiger to be discharged from the hospital. After all, the hospital was not a good place for Tiger's eye replacement. Tiger, board my van. With an eye mask, Tiger entered Zhao's RV. Zhao had healed Tiger's arms in just half a month, which made Tiger much more confident in his medical skills. Nonetheless, Tiger's left eye was completely blind. Could Zhao really cure his eye too? It was impossible for Tiger to become a professional boxer with just one eye, because it would reduce the field of vision greatly. Being observant and alert was the most basic requirement to becoming a boxer. Therefore, Tiger was still lost about his fate and future. What do I do now? Tiger was quite familiar with Zhao's pets, so he was not surprised when he saw them in the RV. Lie there. Following Zhao's instruction, Tiger lay on the bed. Then, you'll sleep? Zhao snapped his fingers and Tiger lost consciousness. Zhao took out a pristine eyeball. Replacing Tiger's eye was an easy task for him since the pristine eyeball would complete everything by itself. Although the process looked somewhat like parasitism in those horror movies, it was a very normal thing in hell. Zhao drove the van to UCLA, during which Tiger had an amazing sleep. He felt that it had been a long time since he had such a good rest. In the last period of time, his damaged eyeball had been continuously causing pain, disrupting his sleep. Slap. Wake up. Tiger felt that someone was slapping his face. He waved his hand. Go away. Wake up. Go away before I beat you up. Swish. The next instant, Tiger was lifted into the air. Tiger opened his eyes and realized that he was being held by Zhao. You want to beat me up? Huh. No. Tiger almost cried for his carelessness. I was dreaming. That's better. Zhao put Tiger back onto the floor. Lucky. Tiger patted his chest, but he felt that something was wrong. He closed his left eye and then switched to the other eye. I can see with my left eye. No way. Is this an illusion or a dream? Mr. Chen, my eye? Forget the past. If anyone asks you about it, say that your eye was just injured, not blind, Zhao said. Do you understand? Mr. Chen, what happened to my eye? Why do you have so many questions? Do you want me to dig your eye out and then put it back again? No, I won't ask anymore. Tiger feared Zhao even more, but he also found Zhao mysterious. Let's go to the boxing club and practice. Every day, I'll be spending 2 hours on your rehab training, until I think that you can stand in the ring again. Chapter 406, Tiger's Recovery Training. Chapter 406, Tiger's Recovery Training. When the boxing club saw Tiger return, They were all very happy. Everyone crowded around to greet Tiger. But when Chen Zhao came in, all the laughter died down. They all greeted Chen Zhao meekly. It felt like he was some villain in a movie. "Move aside now," Chen Zhao said. "Tiger just got discharged. I need to do some recovery training for him." The crowd dispersed, and the two put on the gear with practiced ease. Both the boxing gloves and helmet were for protecting both sides. Punching with bare fists could easily disable or even kill someone. In the next few days, you need to practice taking hits. You and Zanla Douglas don't have true differences in fitness, but when you're in the ring, your ability to take hits is far weaker than his. In the following days, you'll need to face even crueler practice. Instead of you calling stop, I'll only stop when I think I should. "Okay, I understand, Mr. Chen." "All right, let's start." Going through Chen Zhao's training again, Tiger could feel clearly that Chen Zhao's power was stronger than before. He knew that Chen Zhao hadn't used his true power when he trained before. Tiger didn't realize just how different their levels were until Chen Zhao broke Zanla's two arms with one punch to take revenge. Before that, Tiger always thought that Chen Zhao was one of the better professional boxers, but he didn't think that Chen Zhao could compare with the true top figures. He didn't realize the truth until Zanla lay on the ground by Chen Zhao's feet. If Chen Zhao participated in a professional boxing competition, he would definitely be like a demon. He still didn't use much strength. After all, Tiger's arms had just gotten better. They hadn't healed completely yet. Chen Zhao's attacks were still a bit conservative. After 10 stormy minutes, Chen Zhao finally freed Tiger, letting him catch a breath. Clap, clap. Chen Zhao and Tiger turned around to see Wright clapping outside the ring. "Miss Wright." Tiger was one of the better students in school. Even his grades were quite well. Of course, that was only on the surface. Privately, Tiger would also take jobs to bully people. For example, the last time he got into a conflict with Chen Zhao had been because he was hired to do so. This was how he made money. After all, Tiger's family wasn't wealthy and boxing wasn't only his dream. It was a way to get rich. "Chen, you don't focus on your job." Wright looked at him with dissatisfaction. "You're a professor of the medical school. How am I not focusing on my job? This counts as teaching, right?" Chen Zhao turned to Tiger. "Am I right, Tiger?" Tiger grinned but didn't reply. "Are you free this afternoon? I arranged a public lecture for you." "You said you already arranged it. Can I say no?" "Then it's set." A smile finally appeared on Wright's face. "Oh, I heard that in the few days you were in Sacramento, you revived someone who was shot in the head. You can't say I revived him. I saved him. He's pretty lucky. If he was shot by a large caliber gun, probably even I would be powerless." Tiger glanced at Chen Zhao, thinking he was even more amazing now. He also felt fortunate that he had voluntarily resolved their conflict back then. He only got this opportunity because he hadn't continued viewing Chen Zhao as the enemy. "Miss Wright, wait." A man in his 30s chased after her. "Jared, can I help you?" Wright turned around and asked. "Miss Wright, can you explain why my public lecture was replaced? I don't think I did anything wrong." Jared stared at her furiously. "Why?" Wright thought for a moment and looked at Jared. "I don't want to get overly involved with your private life, but please put your eyes on someone other than students. I don't want to have two girls walk into my office while I'm working and report you for your relationships. Plus, you've missed at least 5 classes in the past month. In that case, I'll give you fewer classes so you can take care of your love life. Plus, since I have a better choice, why don't I choose that? I'm already being merciful by not firing you. I hope you understand your situation." Jared's expression was livid. "There's someone better than me in neurosurgery?" "Of course," Wright replied matter-of-factly. "Does someone like that exist at UCLA?" Jared obviously didn't think he was the best neurosurgery expert in the world, but he thought that better ones didn't exist at UCLA. "Mr. Jared, if you want to object to my decision, please improve your professionalism and career ethics before debating with me." "Okay, I'm busy. Goodbye." With that, Wright turned and left. She never hesitated about her decisions. The one who replaced Jared's public lecture was none other than Chen Zhao. If Chen Zhao didn't have his own job and was a full-time college professor, Wright would fire Jared without hesitation. He was already clinging to her just because a few classes had been replaced. Jared refused to surrender. He was the youngest professor in the history of UCLA. Only 30 years old, he already had the honorable title of professor. Other than the few old guys with terrifying age and status, he wasn't impressed by anyone. Plus, he always thought that he was the best in his field. He wasn't a typical professor who only knew how to lecture. He'd been a doctor before. He was the main acting neurosurgeon for 4 years and worked a year as an intern. Regarding neurosurgery, even the professor with the highest seniority didn't dare to compete with him. Mr. Ronan, Jared called his own teacher. Aunt Ronan was the dean of the neurosurgery department when he was an intern. He was also the neurosurgeon that Jared trusted the most. Jared had learned many things about neurosurgery during his internship under Aunt. Plus, Aunt was the only expert in this field that Jared admitted was better than him. Chapter 407, Getting Helpers. Chapter 407, Getting Helpers. Jared, what's up? Aunt Ronan asked. Mr. Ronan, my lecture has been taken by someone else. The principal said that I'll be replaced by someone better, Jared complained. Aunt frowned. What's wrong with that? It only means that you're not good enough. I've checked the person who's going to replace me for the public class. I've never heard of him before. He's only given one lecture, as a substitute, and he's not even a professor in neurosurgery. How can I accept that? You mean someone from another specialty is going to give your lecture in neurosurgery? Aunt's face darkened. While Jared was not the best neurosurgeon he had seen, indeed not even as good as himself, he believed that nobody in another specialty could do better than Jared. Exactly. I suspect that there might be some shady deals. So what do you want me to do? I hope that you can expose him during the lecture. At least we can let the college realize that we're specialized for a reason, and no outsider can replace me. When is the public class? In the afternoon. All right, I'll be free in the afternoon. I'll be there. Jared's face was filled with delight. With Aunt Ronan as his backing, he was confident that he would be able to destroy the substitute. If the substitute was questioned by a neurosurgery authority in public, he would definitely be too embarrassed to stay. If Jared was a neurosurgery expert, then Aunt Ronan was definitely an authority. In all of California, or even America, Aunt Ronan was one of the best neurosurgeons, not to mention L.A. Sir. Just then, Jared heard someone call him. He turned around and saw a stranger. The stranger had thin hair and was in his 50s, but his clothes looked decent. Why does he look so familiar? Hi, how may I help you? Jared asked. May I know how to get to the principal's office? The more Jared looked at the man, the more he found the man familiar. Why are you looking for the principal? Oh, I've been asked to be UCLA's external lecturer. I'm reporting today. Are you Mr. Hill Nance? Jared finally recognized the person before him. As a neurosurgery authority, Hill Nance, nicknamed Surgical Knife, had a near-perfect personal record. He had outstanding performances in many super difficult surgeries. With more than 30 years of experience, he was even more senior than Aunt Ronan. He would not reject most surgeries, unlike other doctors who would shun difficult operations to increase their surgery success rate. Oh, do you know me? Hill Nance was somewhat surprised. We've met during the California Medical Conference a year ago. Do you remember me? Sorry, I have a really poor memory, Hill Nance answered, smiling. Suddenly Jared realized something. Wait, is he the person who's going to replace me? I'll be in big trouble in this case. This caused Jared to be somewhat anxious. Mr. Nance, which department will you be joining? I'm specialized in neurosurgery, Hill Nance replied. Jared's heart skipped a beat. If Hill Nance was really the person who was going to replace him, he would have to ask Aunt Ronan to not come in the afternoon. Otherwise, it would really be awkward. Hill Nance was not ordinary, and everyone knew how good he was. Going to his class and looking for trouble would only end up badly for Jared. But I'm not a full professor, only an external lecturer. Huh. Jared was stunned, but he realized that there was still hope. Mr. Hill Nance, given your professionalism, I don't think any school would reject you as a professor, right? No, I'm far from being good enough. I heard that UCLA has many excellent professors in neurosurgery. Apart from giving lectures, I'm also here to exchange and learn, Hilnan said. Hearing that, Jared heaved a sigh of relief. It was probably not Hilnan's, who was an ordinary lecturer and would only give professional talks. Usually, public classes were given by at least associate professors or successful people invited by the college. No matter how expert Hilnan's was, as long as he was not an associate or full professor, he would not be able to give a public class. Mr. Nans, I'm Jared, also a neurosurgery professor, but I'm clearly no expert before you. Mr. Jared, I'm sure we'll have many chances in the future to interact. By the way, I think you should note that not every professor in the college deserves the title. This afternoon, someone from another specialty is actually going to give a neurosurgery public lecture. Oh, another specialty? Yes, a professor who's only given one lecture before is giving a public class. Is it? In my opinion, neurosurgery is a profound and demanding subject. I do not want my students to be misled by an outsider, so I'll go and expose him during the lecture, Jared said. Mr. Nans, it'll be great if you're there to help me. Sure, but I need to see if that person is a professional or not, Hilnan said. Yes, of course. I really need to go to the principal's office for the administrative stuff now. Of course. The office is in that building, 4th floor, turn left, 2nd room. There's a sign on the door. Right. See you, Mr. Jared. Jared walked 2 steps and saw a bug guy walking toward his direction. He called, Tiger, you're finally discharged. Yes, Mr. Jared. Tiger also greeted Jared. Tiger, do you want to earn some pocket money? I'm afraid I don't do those anymore. Sorry. Tiger shook his head. Since he was beaten up by Chen Zhao last time, he had stopped accepting dirty work. It was bad for his reputation, and he was also scared that he would meet someone like Chen Zhao again. Furthermore, if Chen Zhao found out about it, he would be enraged. I'm not asking you to beat someone up. Oh, is it not? An outsider has snatched my public class from me. I need you to question him during the lecture. $1,000. Tiger was tempted by the easy task, especially when he was in need of money. So I don't have to hit anyone, right? Yes, you only need to question him. Also, find a few people from the boxing club. I'll be great if they can question the speaker with you. That will cost extra? Sure. Chapter 408, Tiger's Doomsday. Chapter 408, Tiger's Doomsday. After lunch, Tiger returned to the boxing club. There were some new members. The coach of the club led the new students to Tiger. You all should get to know Tiger. He's a junior this year, but he's the best of the club. He already has a professional certificate. Hearing that, the students immediately all had reverent expressions. Hi, Tiger. Tiger, have you participated in professional competitions before? Tiger, do you have time to teach us? Okay. Stop disturbing Tiger. You haven't even learned the basics yet, so stop clinging to Tiger. If you want to train with him, you might get creamed with one punch. Start with the basics. Dion, wait, Tiger called to the coach. I have a job and need some guys. I thought you stopped taking jobs. It's not beating people up. I don't do that anymore. If Mr. Chen finds out, I'll probably be in the hospital again. It's not beating people up. Yeah, it's to help Mr. Jared. Tiger explained everything. I see. You kids, who wants to help Tiger? I can do it. Me too. I'm free in the afternoon. The newbies were really happy to help Tiger. They just entered college and were filled with excitement about college life. How could they miss this drama? Okay, then I'll take you guys. Miss, I want that, and that. The cafeteria lady looked at Chen Zhao like he was a monster. Sir, this is your 3rd time getting food. It's not like I don't pay. Chen Zhao rarely got to eat cafeteria food. It wasn't very good, but it was at least cheaper and had pretty big servings. He would naturally eat his fill. Fine, but you should know our rules. You'll get fined if you have leftovers. Of course, I understand. Chen Zhao carried away the tray filled with food. As soon as he sat down, Evely sat across from him. Hi, Chen. Hi, Evely. What's up? Chen, I feel like I haven't been improving recently. My time is always around 8 minutes. Do you have any suggestions? No. How can you be so irresponsible? What am I responsible for? I'm gonna scream harassment, Evely said, pouting while glaring at Chen Zhao. Then you better find a place with no cameras. There's a camera here. You have no sense of humor. But speaking of, do you really plan on becoming a professional athlete? Don't you know? I was chosen as an Olympic athlete. I'll debut at the World Championships this year. Oh, that's how you'll reply to me? Evely stared at Chen Zhao. What do you want? Come back and be my coach. My family hired someone who calls himself the champion coach. Apparently, he was Phelps' coach before, but after I followed his methods, I was 10 seconds slower. After I changed back to the method you taught me, I went back to my original speed. Evely understood fully now that Chen Zhao was the best coach. The other coaches couldn't even compare to him, even though Chen Zhao was always distracted while he trained, but the effects on Evely were obvious. In 10 days, her fitness and speed had all improved substantially. This was why she kept going to Chen Zhao, hoping he could change his mind. I have to train Tiger. I don't have time to train you. Didn't you say that you hope I can break the men's world record? You really want to break the men's world record? I know it's really hard, but I really want to try. I want to be the first female athlete to break a men's world record. But you can't go compete against men, right? I don't have to. I'll break the record in my own meet. As long as I do it fair and square, what can people say about me? I need to think about it, Chen Zhao said. When can you give me an answer? When are the World Championships? It starts this August. There's still half a year. Take it slowly, don't worry. It's less than half a year, Evely corrected. Wait for Tiger's progress. I can't be a boxing and swimming coach at the same time. How long does he need? I don't know. Depends. Give me an exact time. This way, I can fire the coach at a more accurate time. Hearing Evely's words, Chen Zhao felt really bad. I'll go look at your training results when I have time. How about that? Do you have time today? No, I have a public lecture today. You have a public lecture? Which room? Lecture hall number 3, Chen Zhao said. Then he suddenly reached over and squeezed Evely's arm. Hey, what are you doing? She was both embarrassed and annoyed. Your body fat ratio increased. Go back and eat vegetarian for 2 days. Evely glared at Chen Zhao. She knew that this asshole was flippant, but he did have some skills. He just squeezed her arm and discovered that her body fat had increased. She'd done a checkup yesterday. Her fat content was 2% higher than during the competition. She indeed hadn't paid much attention to her diet. She'd have to start that again. However, her face darkened when she saw the food on Chen Zhao's plate. Why don't you pay attention to your diet? Aren't you afraid of getting fat by binging like this? Please don't think like that before I get fat. I have a high metabolism and I don't exercise any less than you. Chen Zhao shoveled the food into his mouth. After cleaning up, he said, I have to go prepare the material for this afternoon's lecture now. It took him more than an hour to prepare the material. After getting ready, he checked the time. He had to go to the lecture hall now. When he arrived, he saw that there were quite a lot of students. The commotion quieted down instantly when he walked in. Chen Zhao scanned the room. He seemed to see some familiar guys from the boxing club. Maybe they'd come to support him after hearing that he was lecturing. But Tiger, sitting in the back, paled the instant he saw Chen Zhao. There was only one thought in his mind. Shit, I'm dead. Chapter 409, Hitting a Hard Snag. Chapter 409, Hitting a Hard Snag. It's about time. Let's start. Chen Zhao looked at the students present. I'm Chen Zhao. Some of you may know me, and I won't introduce myself. During the talk, try not to interrupt me if possible. You can ask me questions after I finish. Chen Zhao began the class. I'm a professor in TCM, and my favorite treatment is acupuncture. Just then, a tall student stood up. Tiger and the old members of the boxing club could feel their hearts skip a beat. Shit, it's over. What bullshit is that? I've never heard about TCM being used in neurosurgery. With astonishing speed, Tiger charged forward and knocked the student onto the floor. Shut up. Listen to Mr. Chen's talk in silence or scram. Almost. Tiger shivered, but he was proud of his cleverness. All right, Tiger, don't punch people in class. Those who are not interested can leave now. I don't want the same thing to happen again. The student was still in a trance as he was pulled back onto his seat. Senior, is that part of the plan? Why did you? The student asked softly. Are you mad? Do you know who he is? Who is he? He's the one who caused Zanla Douglas to be handicapped. If you don't want him to beat you up too, you better be polite. The student had just joined the boxing club on that day and clearly did not know Chen Zhao. When he heard Tiger's words, his face paled in fear. Senior, well, Mr. Chen, be very polite to him later. Tiger was also very upset. He had no idea that Jared was trying to target Chen Zhao. Had he known it earlier, there was no way he would accept the job. Fortunately, nothing terrible happened. The lesson resumed. Jared looked at Tiger multiple times, questioning Tiger with his eyes. However, Tiger only replied with a malicious glare, as if he was going to devour Jared alive. Jared just could not figure out what Tiger meant. Didn't we have a deal? Why would he change his mind halfway? Is it the price? That's not a problem at all. He should have told me earlier. Forget it, Jared thought in his mind. Anyway, Tiger was insignificant to his plan. His plan would work with or without Tiger. Jared estimated when Aunts Ronan and Hill Nans would arrive. Suddenly, he saw someone outside the windows who looked like Aunts Ronan. Jared was delighted. It's time. Jared stood up. Mr. Chen, what have you been talking about? Are you sure you're not a fraud? Chen Zhao turned his head to look at Jared, who was clearly not a student. A lecturer? Chen Zhao was confused. Why would he attack Chen Zhao so directly? Had there been any conflicts between them? Nevertheless, there was no reason for Chen Zhao to retreat from such a blunt assault. In the American medical community, it's generally thought that TCM is most suited for recuperation, not as a main treatment, especially for neurological diseases, but you've been talking about how to use TCM to treat neurological diseases. So I have to question your academic and medical knowledge. Just because you don't understand it or agree with it doesn't mean you're right. I'm standing here, but you're sitting down there, which proves that I have the right to teach the students with my theories. Also, before the talk started, I asked you to not interrupt me. I hate it when someone breaks my rhythm. Can nobody interrupt you? Jared dug a trap for Chen Zhao. Yes. Even neurosurgery authorities? I'm standing here. I am the authority. Is it? Just then, someone pushed the door open. I would like to see which authority you are. Aunts Ronan stood at the door, but when he saw Chen Zhao, his face turned purple. Aunts Ronan opened his mouth. Mr. Aunts, you're finally here. Jared clearly did not notice Aunts Ronan's weird expression. He happily approached Aunts and announced loudly, "Let me introduce you to Aunts Ronan, the Dean of Chantilly Hospital's Neurosurgery Department. He has published 6 academic papers, one of which is in our college's official textbook. The other 5 have appeared in Medical Weekly and been awarded with the California Outstanding Medical Contribution Award. I believe he can be called an authority. Mr. Chen, he should be able to question you, right?" The students burst into excitement. Most of them were medical students, and some had subscribed to Medical Weekly. It was already difficult enough for a paper to enter Medical Weekly. More unbelievably, Aunts Ronan's paper had been selected to be part of the official syllabus. Nobody could achieve this apart from top experts. Tiger and the others began to panic. They did not expect Jared to invite a real authority just for Chen Zhao. The other students also noticed the unusual atmosphere. Jared and Aunts Ronan were obviously here to look for trouble. It all depended on how the speaker would react. He might just be defeated by the pair and lose all his reputation. Aunt Ronan stood still, his face filled with hesitation. Huh, Ronan, how come you're here? Just then, another person walked in. Nans, you're here too? Aunt Ronan looked at Hill Nans in surprise. When Jared saw Hill Nans, his face shone brightly. Mr. Hill Nans, here you are. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Hill Nans, aka Surgical Knife, who specializes in high-difficulty neurosurgery. He has the top-tier specialist certificate recognized by the International Medical Institution. The students were wowed again. Nobody expected Jared to be so brutal and invite two neurosurgery authorities at once. Perhaps many students had never heard of the name Hill Nans, but everyone was familiar with the nickname of Surgical Knife, because his surgical videos were used to teach them. Many of his classic surgeries were models in the medical community and had been studied by students over and over again. Chapter 410. He's not authority before me. Chapter 410. He's not authority before me. Mr. Chen, do these two authoritative figures have the right to question you? Jared turned toward Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao glanced at Hill Nans and Aunt Ronan. You two are here to question me? Aunt Ronan immediately shook his head. No, I heard that you're having a public lecture, so I came just to listen. I'm not qualified to call myself an authoritative figure before you. I'm here to learn. Everyone was shocked at this. Jared froze. Mr. Ronan, you? What? What's wrong? Aunt's hated Jared now. You can go against anyone you want. Why did you choose him? The students present couldn't believe this. Whether Aunt's was authoritative went without question, but he was actually this humble before Chen Zhao. Could it be that this Mr. Chen was truly that skilled in the medical field? Seeing that Aunt Ronan couldn't be useful, Jared glanced at Hill Nans. Now, he could only put his hope on Hill. Mr. Hill Nans, do you agree that his traditional Chinese medicine can be used for neurosurgery? I'm not familiar with traditional Chinese medicine, but since Mr. Chen says so, then I believe it's possible. I've stepped down from my position and came to UCLA in hopes of becoming Mr. Chen's aide. The room went crazy again. Everyone was stunned. This Hill Nans was a magical doctor known as the Surgical Knife. He was actually willing to be Chen Zhao's aide. Weren't they here to question this Chinese man? Even Jared was utterly stunned. What was going on? What exactly was going on? Didn't they agree on this? How come they all changed their minds after seeing this Chinese man? Mr. Chen, you won't mind us listening, right? Just don't interrupt me when I lecture. I'll follow the rules, Aunt said. If I sit here, then I'm a student. Aunts Ronan and Hill Nans took their seats. Only Jared was still standing there. He didn't know what to do. Sir, please leave my lecture. Right now, this moment. I'm not going. This belongs to me. Jared couldn't accept this result. He kind of lost all reason. Just then, the guys of the boxing club finally stood up. Mr. Chen, I'll take him out, Tiger said. I won't let him make a scene here. With that, Tiger's group dragged Jared out, not caring if he was willing or not. Someone even covered his mouth so he wouldn't spout nonsense. When they dragged him out of the classroom, they tossed him onto the ground. Tiger, why did you betray me? Didn't we agree on this? Don't you know who Mr. Chen is to me? Tiger stared coldly at Jared. You know him? He healed my arms and now he's my coach. You want me to mess with Mr. Chen? Tiger stared at Jared with clenched teeth. He's your boxing coach? Jared yelled. With that body, even I can defeat him. The boxing club guys all laughed. They thought that before too. But after that time, none of them had that idea anymore. Then you can try challenging Mr. Chen, but you better get yourself steel armor first. Okay, this is all I have to say today. Any questions? Mr. Chen, I know that you recently performed heart surgery on a patient determined dead by extremely accurate medical equipment. Can you tell me how you determined that he's still alive? The classroom was in uproar again. A patient was determined dead by equipment, but this man actually got the opposite result and revived the man. In traditional Chinese medicine, the process of diagnosing is actually similar to Western medicine. Of course, that patient couldn't reply to me at that time, but I could sense it from touch. Of course, not everyone can do that. I'm a bit special in this matter. I'm more sensitive, so I could feel that the patient wasn't actually dead. So how could you do something that 4 doctors couldn't do? Aunt Ronan asked. Nans was also skilled in surgery. He obviously knew how complex heart surgery was. One person doing an entire surgery was like a person constructing a building alone. It's actually not as hard as you thought, even though the 4 doctors failed in the end, but their processes weren't completely useless. I just took after their work and fixed the mistakes. Also, this question is unrelated to today's topic. Mr. Chen, I have a question, Nan said, raising his hand. Sir, do you still remember me? Yes, but can you not call me sir? Mr. Chen, not too long ago, you accepted an injured man that I thought had no hope left. He was shot in the head from a short distance, and large amounts of shrapnel remained in his brain. What did you do to get rid of them? And what did you do in response to the internal bleeding? I'm afraid I can't tell you now. Why? It's too complicated, Zhao said. There's too much content about traditional Chinese medicine, but I've only given one lecture. Your knowledge is too shallow now. I'm unable to explain the complexity of the surgery. Yes, I'm too hurried, Hill said, nodding. Mr. Chen, did you use traditional Chinese medicine to awaken the person in the vegetative state before? No, it was actually a combination of traditional and modern medicine. Pure Chinese medicine couldn't awaken them. The difference between you and I is that I'm familiar with traditional Chinese medicine, so I have an additional choice when treating patients. That's why I can cure some seemingly impossible diseases or conditions. At that moment, all the students there realized that this professor from China had very advanced medical knowledge. At least, he could make the 2 experts surrender to him. The students who hadn't paid much attention to the lecture were now all asking the people around them or borrowing notes. Mr. Chen, when is your next lecture? Hill asked. Depends on my mood. He really did have a unique personality. Probably no other professor at UCLA dared to reply like that. Okay, that's all for today. Class over. Before Chen Zhao could leave the classroom, he suddenly saw Jared run in. He raised a baseball bat and went for Chen Zhao. You. It's you. You took everything from me. Die. Jared's bat was already coming down on Chen Zhao. Watch out. Chapter 411. What the hell is a nest of curses? Chapter 411. What the hell is a nest of curses? Just when everyone was worried about Chen Zhao, he punched. Crack. Ah. The baseball bat broke into 2 as Jared flew backward. Someone, call the ambulance. Then, Chen Zhao turned around and left. Wow. Handsome. I'm wet. Evely caught up with Chen Zhao and tapped his shoulder. Chun, nice one. Did you run to me just to tell me that? What else do you want me to say? Nothing, bye. Chen Zhao stretched. Then, he found Right and took back all his pets. Because of the class earlier, he had left his pets with Right. In her overexcitement, she rode Princess around to scare people again. Chen Zhao thought that Right would eventually be impeached by the college board if she kept behaving like this. With his various pets, Chen Zhao left the staff building. Suddenly, a ball rolled toward him and stopped beside his feet. A little girl trotted toward him. Uncle, could you please pick up the ball for me? Smiling, Chen Zhao bent down, but before he could reach the ball, he felt his arm go out of control. This had not happened in a long time. Since Chen Zhao mastered spiritual connection, he had been able to control his arm perfectly. But today, his right arm went berserk again. One of the eyes on the back of his hand opened without warning. Then, the mouth of Glutton also opened. It grabbed the ball on the ground and swallowed it. The little girl's expression changed drastically. Shit, how did you discover it? I'll be back. Stunned, Chen Zhao watched as the girl ran away. Wait, what the hell? Rupert's face paled. He's too powerful. What spell is that? How did he devour the curse? After all, it was the curse of the sacrifice, nominally the most vicious curse. The curse of the sacrifice was not fatal. In fact, most curses were not. However, it would cause the target to bleed continuously, like menstruation, regardless of the target's gender. Before the curse was stopped or broken, the cursed would keep bleeding. Think about it. If a person was hit with the curse of the sacrifice, he or she would basically be menstruating every day. Nobody could take that. Furthermore, the curse was very difficult to break. Rupert had originally expected it to be a simple task. She clearly did not expect her target to break the curse. No, not break. He devoured the curse. She had never heard of such a spell. Chen Zhao, who had just scared Rupert away, was now having a headache as he stared at the eye on the back of his hand. Since the True Visioner's 6 pristine eyeballs were embedded in his right arm, they had been inactive. Even when he managed to control his right arm completely, he was still unable to activate the eyeballs. Chen Zhao had almost forgotten about them. Today, for some reason, he managed to activate the first pristine eyeball, but he could not control it again. Nevertheless, after the mouth ate the ball, Chen Zhao felt a wave of satisfaction. What's this? Are rubber balls really that delicious? Should I go and buy a few more rubber balls? As for the girl's words, he did not hear them clearly. Chen Zhao thought that the girl was just too frightened. Luckily, she was only about 7 or 8 years ago. He did not have to worry about her telling everyone about what she had seen. Even if she did, people would think that it was just a child's imagination. On his way home, Chen Zhao kept studying his right arm. The eye was really troublesome. He did not know how he had opened it, and now he could not close it or even control the mouth. Suddenly, Chen Zhao had an idea. He could not control the mouth probably because the eye had somehow usurped his rights. Instead of controlling the mouth, could he control the eye instead? Chen Zhao tried it out. Indeed, the eye was much easier to control. He could feel the eye. Just then, Samuel trotted and jumped into Chen Zhao's arms. Master! Samuel, do you know what's happening? Pristine eyeball. You've activated a cursed eye and gained curse vision. What do you mean? Basically, it can detect the existence of curses. Most curses are inferior spells, but precisely because of that, they're hard to detect. This eye has the ability to sense and discover curses. But how did it manage to control the mouth of Glutton? Pristine eyeballs are just organs and have no awareness. It's just like how you see food and will subconsciously eat it. After thinking, Chen Zhao called Sienna. Sienna, where are you now? Chen, what a perfect moment. We've at Movich's power station. Come here quickly. There's a problem we can't solve. Chen Zhao was speechless. He called Sienna for help, but Sienna asked him to help her instead. Fine. Since Sienna had already made the request, Chen Zhao decided to go to Movich's place. He had no idea what they had encountered. It actually got Sienna. When Chen Zhao reached the power station, he realized that it was empty. I'm at the power station. Come out and bring me in. Soon, Movich Tudis ran out. Chen, you're finally here. What's happening? Why is there no one in such a large power station? I asked everyone to go for a break. If they find out what's inside, I think nobody will come to work ever again. I definitely don't want to see that happen. So what's happening inside? I don't know the exact details. Today, an engineer discovered a glitch. He brought some people into the station and realized that something was attached to one of the generator sets. It looked like an enormous ant nest. In order to remove the nest, the generator set has to be stopped. So the engineer informed me, and when I saw the thing, I informed Sienna. And then? After Sienna came, her expression clearly changed. She asked me to empty the station first. Bring me in? When they entered the power station, Chen Zhao saw Chris waiting at the entrance. Chen, you're finally here. What's the situation now? I don't know. Sienna didn't allow me to go in. Too dangerous, she said. Only Cheryl followed her. Chen, am I very useless? Chen Zhao did not know how to reply. Although it was an established fact, he could not say it directly. Actually, you're really useful. You have just yet to discover your talents. Really? I think we should talk about the current situation. Chen Zhao turned his eyes away. Of course it's fake. Just then, Cheryl ran out in an awkward manner. There were signs that she had transformed earlier, and her body was covered in a green liquid. Chen, here you are. Can you defeat a nest of curses? Chapter 412. Is it here for comic relief? Chapter 412. Is it here for comic relief? Nest of curses? What the heck? Lead me to see, Chen Zhao said. Chen. Chris stopped Chen Zhao. Can I go look too? Chris gazed imploringly at him. Earlier, Sienna didn't let her go in, because she feared she would give Sienna trouble. Since Chen Zhao was here and Chris knew how he was, she hoped she could go in under his protection. Chen Zhao considered this. Come if you want. Chris was overjoyed. Movich Tutis also asked, what about me? I can't stay here alone. Since Chen Zhao was willing to have Chris tag on, he had no reason to refuse Movich. Everyone, come along so you're not alone. It's more dangerous that way. A while later, Chen Zhao saw a light inside. He remembered that it was the light of magical phosphor. Next, Sienna ran out in a pathetic state. Huff, huff. Chen, you're finally here. If you didn't come, I would have died in there. What's going on? Roar. A strange green-skinned creature ran out. It had 4 gangly limbs and was stuck on the wall, crawling like a lizard. It was extremely fast. What's that? Disaster. What? Its name is Disaster. It was a witch before. Sienna's expression was unnatural. Just then, Disaster reached Chen Zhao. A tongue shot out of its big mouth, curling toward Chen Zhao's left arm. Careful, Sienna cried. The Disaster wanted to drag Chen Zhao over with its tongue, but Chen Zhao didn't budge. He felt that it wasn't very strong, probably at the same level as Black Ma and White Ma. Seeing that it couldn't move Chen Zhao, the Disaster jumped and pounced on Chen Zhao. Thud. Chen Zhao swung his right arm with full power and whacked the Disaster's head. Everyone's mouth fell open, watching Chen Zhao distort the Disaster with one punch. Back off. Disasters release curses before death. Don't breathe in the green gas it releases. That's the curse. Everyone jumped away when they heard Sienna's words. The Disaster's body started evaporating into green vapor. Getting an idea, Chen Zhao quickly activated the cursed eye. The mouth of Gluttony also opened at once. It took a deep breath, sucking in all of the green vapor. Chen, what are you doing? Nothing, Chen Zhao said, shrugging. Just purifying this place. Sienna's eyes were even more troubled when she looked at Chen Zhao. The creature that she couldn't fend off was just a matter of a punch for Chen Zhao. Tell me what happened here. Later. There are more. More. Chen Zhao looked into the deep cave and shrugged. Let's go look. Just then, a Disaster darted out from under a huge pipe. This time, Chen Zhao didn't even need to punch. The mouth of Gluttony opened its mouth at the Disaster. Everyone watched as Chen Zhao's hand suddenly enlarged. His palm turned into a huge mouth that bit down on the Disaster. The bottom half of the Disaster was still struggling, but the mouth chewed a few times and swallowed the creature. Chen, what spell is that? Sienna asked. Mouth of Gluttony. Gluttony, one of the 7 demon kings of hell? Huh. Chen Zhao was surprised that Sienna would think of this. Do you know about it? I don't know the spell, but something that can be related to the 7 demon kings won't be weak. Magic originated from demons. As a witch, Sienna obviously knew this. Magic didn't distinguish between good and evil. If there was a categorization, then all magic would be labeled as evil. Thus, magic was also known as demon magic. This was one reason why the church hunted witches back then. Finally, Sienna brought Chen Zhao to the nest of curses. It was something that looked like a beehive, hanging on a huge generator. Green liquid dripped down constantly. There were many tiny holes on the nests outside. There was an opening on the bottom that looked like a reproductive organ. It kept moving like it was producing something. A Disaster was using all its might to crawl out of the organ, but it had nowhere to apply force. It could only swing in the air. Finally, the organ of the nest of curses spat the disaster out. As soon as the disaster landed, it pounced toward Chen Zhao's group. Chen Zhao repeated his actions, swallowing the disaster again. Chen Zhao was about to approach the nest, but Sienna stopped him immediately. Don't get close. That nest is really dangerous. Dangerous? Chen Zhao asked in confusion. It doesn't look like it can attack. Sienna pulled a walnut-sized marble from her pocket and threw it at the nest. Countless long and thin tentacles instantly shot out of the holes all over the nest. The marble was shattered in midair, followed by an intense explosion. The marble must have been made out of magical phosphor. The explosion was similar. The tentacles all had a thorn at the bottom. If Chen Zhao had approached it unprotected like earlier, he would probably get stabbed through. Chun, do you have a solution? Sienna asked. Chen Zhao thought for a moment. He glanced around and saw the tools scattered on the side. He grabbed a wrench and activated the mouth of gluttony on his right arm. A layer of gold shone on his right arm. Chen Zhao hurled the wrench. The wrench flew extremely quickly. The tentacles didn't even have time to reach out, and the wrench had already slammed into the nest. A great amount of green liquid spewed out. The group hurriedly took a step back. Only Chen Zhao and Shirley didn't fear the liquid. The injured nest of curses picked up its reproduction pace. Chen Zhao grabbed a small hammer and threw it again. A disaster was half pushed out, but was suddenly swallowed back when the nest of curses was injured again. No, more accurately, it was eaten. The nest of curses actually ate that disaster. The bottom half of the body had been two halves. Now, it suddenly split apart like a blossoming flower into 5 slabs of flesh. Each slab was covered in poisonous fangs. The surroundings of the nest of curses opened up. An arm reached out. Then a leg reached out. But the leg grew right next to the arm. 5 more arms or legs grew out after that. They all grew without order. Some were on top, some below, some left, and some right. It looked really awkward. The next moment, 4 or 5 disaster heads poked out of the reproductive organ. Is it here for comic relief? Chapter 413. Will you support me if I stop taking illegal deals? Chapter 413. Will you support me if I stop taking illegal deals? Sienna wanted to maintain the serious atmosphere, but as she looked at the weird limbs and heard Chen Zhao's tone, the horrifying atmosphere vanished. It does look slightly funny. The walking nest of curses suddenly leaped at Chen Zhao, who was prepared for it. He opened the mouth of glutton as wide as he could and enveloped the nest from above. Munch! Only the lower half of the nest remained. Chen Zhao felt somewhat full, but there was still something left. Whatever, it's okay to be too full. He controlled the mouth and did the same thing again. The nest was gone. After the second bite, the mouth was clearly chewing and digesting the food much more slowly. Chen Zhao had no choice but to drag his huge arm along. Everyone looked at his arm. Chen Zhao immediately said, "I'll eat anyone who dares to laugh at my arm now." Huh, what lovely weather. Muvich turned his head to look at the ceiling. After a while, the mouth finally digested the nest. Chen Zhao's arm returned to its original size. He moved his arm around and could feel the power within it. Tell me what's happening. Someone has been hunting and killing witches. Sienna had a very solemn expression on her face. What? The nest of curses is made from the corpses of 10 witches. Their bodies developed into the nest, which in turn hatched them, turning them into disasters. What's the point of doing that? Chen Zhao asked, confused. If all the 10 disasters are completely hatched, they'll start to kill and devour each other. In the end, there will only be one left. And then? The disaster will turn into a calamity? Is it very strong? Dunno. Sienna shook her head. I'll ask the witches who are specialized in curses. Maybe someone will tell me the answer. First of all, you said someone's been hunting witches, so the person is definitely more powerful than an ordinary witch. It must be difficult to kill 10 witches, right? Chen Zhao asked. Sienna nodded. The person is not just strong, but also very cruel. I don't understand why he or she would do this. Next, why would that person place the nest here? Could it be placed by a staff member here? Zhao looked at Movich Tudis. I don't think so. I suspect that the nest has escaped from the person's control. That's why it's here. It should be a coincidence. Why? I found traces of the nest moving, near the vent there. I've also checked the surveillance video records. Before the nest of curses appeared, nobody's been here. In fact, the engineer would not have come here if not for the malfunction generator set, Movich said. Fine. Let's say it's not a staff member here, Zhao said. The only thing we can confirm is that the person is really powerful. Sienna, do you know anyone who's that powerful? Everyone looked at Zhao. Sienna also pointed at him and said, You. Not me. I wouldn't do such a perverted thing. There aren't many powerful witches in LA, let alone someone who can kill 10 witches. Is there anyone you suspect? Not really. Forget it. Let's get out. It smells so bad here, Zhao suggested. The group walked out of the station. The air outside was indeed much fresher. Burp. Everyone looked at Zhao, who helplessly glanced at his right arm. It's my arm. It's too full. Everyone was speechless. They sat down and discussed for a long while, but to no avail. After all, they had too little important information. There was no way they could deduce anything useful. I'll go and ask someone about it. Chen, if needed, I think you should help us again. The person's intention should be to create a calamity. The nest of curses here has been destroyed by you, so the person might start to kill witches again. Sienna, aren't you in a dangerous spot then? Chris asked. Sienna, if you need anything, call me anytime. I'll be there as soon as possible. Yes, I understand. Sienna also did not dare to be careless. After all, the incident was very unusual. 10 witches had been killed. The person was powerful and brutal. On their way back home, Sienna, Chris, and Cheryl all seemed listless. Sitting in the back seat, Sienna grabbed her phone. Rupert, where are you now? What? I need your help. Not free. I have a big deal at the moment. I discovered a nest of curses today, Sienna said with a serious tone. There was a momentary period of silence. Are you all right? Yes. Fortunately, my friend arrived in time to prevent the worst-case scenario. Do you know another powerful witch apart from me? Even you aren't confident about taking down a nest of curses, right? Nobody can be confident on that. That's a meaningless statement. I'm not calling to argue with you. I just want to remind you to be careful. I don't know who the culprit is yet, but the person is definitely very strong. If she can create the first nest of curses, then she can certainly create the second. I'm not scared of her. Do you know anyone in LA who might have done this? Or anyone who might know how to make a nest of curses? Dunno. You know that I seldom talk to other witches, even you, not to mention others. All right. If you have any clue, remember to tell me. For what? So that you can go and kill yourself? I can't beat such a lunatic, but my friend can. Oh, by the way, lend me the spellbook that teacher left for you. I need to look at a few curses. You have another illegal deal? Or else, will you support me financially? Forget it. You can't even sustain yourself. Sienna did not know what to reply. Indeed, she had a really tough life. After she hung up the call, she fell into silence again. Sienna, who was that? Cheryl asked out of curiosity. A younger sister. She's even younger than you. Why do I feel that she's older than you? She's my teacher's second student. She awakened on the second night, so she's much more talented than me. Also, she's very mature. Chapter 414. How can I lose to a man? Chapter 414. How can I lose to a man, Miss Rupert? Did you start yet? Pierce South asked impatiently. No. Why are you in such a hurry? Rupert said with a voice-changing tool. The man isn't a normal wizard. I have to prepare sufficiently. Just wait for my news. You're so annoying. Pierce South was annoyed, But this was a famous witch. He could be angry, but he didn't dare express it. Okay, that's all. Rupert hung up the phone. Rupert's temper wasn't good at all. Of course, this was also because she was too young. She had to use this method to disguise herself so others wouldn't dare to offend her and she could protect herself. How can I beat that guy? She had a headache. Rupert flipped through the spellbook in her hands. Suddenly, she stopped at one page. Swallow all is a spell from the King of Gluttony. Rupert's heart jumped. The image of the spell looked really similar to the spell that the man used today. Unfortunately, the book only introduced the spell. It didn't include how to use it. This disappointed Rupert. Clutching her head, she cried out, "Teacher, why did you die so soon?" Right then, a figure emerged gradually behind Rupert. Whack! Rupert got hit in the head. Clutching her head, she said, "Teacher, I didn't say anything bad about you. I heard it all. Don't refute it. You know the spell Swallow All, right?" No. People did in ancient times, but it wasn't passed down. Why not? The spell looks really powerful. Because no one can learn it, so it wasn't passed down. Many ancient spells are lost now. Magic only thrived during the Dark Ages. Really? But I met someone today who used Swallow All. Impossible. It's true. It's a Chinese man. I put the sacrificial curse on a leather ball. He discovered the curse and swallowed both the ball and the curse. Are you sure? Yes. I'm sure that it's the Swallow All spell. Then you better not piss him off. The spell couldn't be passed down, but it's a spell of the Seven Kings. It's the personal spell of the King of Gluttony. The magic needed to use it is multiple times what you have. You can't win against him. But that's a man and I'm a witch. How can I lose to a man? A wizard's magic power and status aren't as high as a witch, but this doesn't mean there aren't exceptions. Don't underestimate anyone. I'm not underestimating him. That's why I'm thinking about how I can beat him. Why must you get involved with an enemy like him? Think about it, Rupert replied earnestly. If I don't get involved with him, I won't have money. If I don't have money, I'll die of starvation. If I die of starvation, you'll lose someone to guard. I'm working so hard all for you, teacher. Rupert's teacher face-bombed. Why did I choose to protect you back then? I should have chosen Sienna. Camilla was also frustrated, but she'd chosen Rupert because Rupert was her daughter. In fact, she was her daughter who'd been sealed for 20 years. Rupert was actually similar to Sienna in age. Camilla had been forced to seal her daughter for a certain reason. After that, she'd failed in a mission to attack a ghost ship, so her daughter stayed sealed. Camilla didn't become free until recently. Then she found Sienna and saved Rupert from the seal. After being sealed for 20 years, Rupert's memory grew muddled. She forgot that Camilla was her mother. Rupert thought that she was Camilla's student, just like Sienna. Stop thinking. I won't let you go against someone that you have no chance of winning. You can't stop me. I'm your teacher, Camilla yelled. But you're my guardian spirit now. Shouldn't you be protecting me instead of stopping me? Sometimes, stopping you is protecting you too. I think you should go protect Sienna instead. She seems to be in big trouble. Super big trouble. What trouble? She ran into a nest of curses. Someone's making them. Is she okay? She's okay for now, but someone in LA is hunting witches. She's so weak. She'll definitely be in more danger than me. Crack. Chen, you got stronger again. Fei Lai looked at the glass shards in Chen Zhao's hands. She wasn't surprised anymore. Chen Zhao would get stronger every now and then. After that, he wouldn't be used to his strength and destroy things everywhere. Chen Zhao was frustrated too. After the mouth of gluttony had eaten and digested the nest of curses, he'd gotten stronger. He wasn't sure just how strong his right arm was now. Fei Lai, I can't sleep with you tonight. Oh. Fei Lai was surprised. It was Chen Zhao's first time voluntarily not sleeping with her. You're busy tonight. Sienna might be in trouble. If she's unlucky, it could kill her. I need to research a little and see if I can help her. Okay, but you need to be careful too. Don't put yourself in danger, all right? Of course. I'll protect myself. Crack. Zhao accidentally warped the bowl in his hands. This was made out of metal. His left arm seemed to have gotten stronger too. It wasn't as crazy as his right arm, but the change was obvious. It's right that you're not sleeping with me tonight. With your crazy state, you'll definitely hurt me. Zhao shrugged. It seemed that he had to get used to this strength faster, so Feilai wouldn't kick him out. He went to the gym to test his right arm. He could now lift a 300-kilogram barbell like it was a dumbbell. This wasn't his limit either. Snatching 500 kilograms with one arm was easy too. Now, he was considering getting a custom-made barbell. This barbell was at a professional standard, but the bar was already bent from the huge weight. If he added more weight, it would definitely snap. Next, he used a pulling method to try to test his left arm. He could pull around 1,400 kilograms. His right arm was more than twice as strong as his left arm. He felt like he could reach 3,000 kilograms. The current Zhao was a true human-shaped monster. Chapter 415, Hate at First Sight. Chapter 415, Hate at First Sight. Despite his promise, Zhao still snuck into the bedroom in the middle of the night. You've got a solution? Feilai was in a light sleep and could feel Zhao's hands moving on her body. Nope. Then why are you here? It's really troublesome. Importantly, we can't find the culprit. Speaking did not slow down Zhao's actions at all. Feilai began to pant. Can you tell me what's happened? Zhao summarized the incident. After remaining silent for a while, Feilai said, Protect those 3 women? Yes. In the morning, the AI system automatically opened the blinds, and the warm sunlight shone through the windows. Zhao only got up after Feilai had prepared breakfast. Then, Feilai went to work and Zhao went to the gym again. Adapted to his new strength, he was delighted. After that, he went for a swim in the lake. It was a really pleasant day. Sir, a call for you. Just then, Zhao heard the AI system's electronic voice from the speaker. The AI system was connected to Zhao and Feilai's phones. If the phone was at home and was not picked up for over 30 seconds, the AI system will inform them. Moreover, if a special call was not picked up, an automatic reply would be given. I am currently busy and I will call back later, or the system would initiate the voicemail mode. Zhao had to admit that his life had become much more convenient after installing the AI system. After all, the system cost over $100,000. Zhao felt that it was worth it. After getting to shore, he said to the system, Pick up the call. Hey, Chen. Hi, Steven. The film location is ready. Can you come here? We'll probably be starting in the next 2 days. I need to discuss the plan with you. Sure. Give me the address. It's an island about 40 nautical miles from shore. Does the story require filming on an island? Yes, the Mexican gang's base will be here. The plot is mainly about the conflict between the protagonists and the gang. All right, Zhao was neither an actor nor an investor, so he only needed to know the plot briefly. He had no right to ask Steven or the investors to change the script. Bring him on here too? Okay. Zhao thought that it was inconvenient to bring Princess and the other pets out to sea. He had to leave them at a place. After some consideration, he decided to send them to Dell's house. Chen, why are you here? I think I need to leave my pets here again. I can't ask Dell to look after my pets every time. Looks like I need to think of a solution. Also, lend me a car. Of course, just pick a car from my garage, Dell said generously. Without being over-polite, Zhao chose an ordinary Volkswagen. To be honest, it was not easy to find such a car in Dell's garage. It was full of sports cars. The ordinary car really stood out among them. After reaching the port, Zhao was about to park the car when another car charged into the parking space at high speed. Zhao stuck his head out and looked at the car. Hey, buddy, I saw this parking space first. The other driver, a lady with glasses, also stuck her head out of the window. With no makeup at all, she looked like she was in her late 20s, and her hair was also casually put in a bun. Does that mean it's yours? The lady with glasses gave Zhao the middle finger and then closed the door. Fuck. Chen Zhao cursed and went to find another parking space. He only managed to do so after driving a few rounds in the parking lot. Needless to say, his good mood was entirely destroyed. When he entered the port, he saw the lady with glasses talking to someone else. The person should be the captain of the yacht. There were many such small passenger yachts at the port, but the cost was not fixed. Passengers would need to discuss transport with the captain in advance. Chen Zhao glanced at the lady and then approached the captain. "Hey, do you go to Guinea Island?" "Oh, you're going to Guinea Island as well?" The captain looked at Chen Zhao. The lady with glasses also glanced at him. Chen Zhao nodded. "How much does it cost?" $1,000, round trip, but you can only stay there for at most 6 hours. "I'm not with her. Also, 1,000 is too expensive. I can give you at most 500. "Wait, I'm with him," the lady said, grabbing Chen Zhao's wrist. "We're going together. Ms., do we know each other? We can still ride the yacht together. It's clearly cheaper for 2 people. Buddy, whether you're going alone or together, 500 is too little. 800, at least." 800? I only need 1,200 to rent a yacht for a day, and I can play on it for the entire day, Chen Zhao bargained. 700 then, the captain compromised. 600. The lady with glasses pulled Chen Zhao. 300 from each of us. You'll pay 400. Chen Zhao smiled. Why should I pay 200 more than you? Because you took my parking space just now? Are you a member of the crew? I'm going there too. I'll be able to help you there, the lady said. No, I don't need help. Are you an actor? Maybe I can get more shots for you. I'll take $600, but are you done discussing? The captain urged. If you keep delaying, I'll have to raise the price. I still need to come back and get another passenger. All right, 600. We'll pay half each. Chen Zhao also did not want to waste any time. After all, his time was more precious. The two boarded the yacht which set sail, but its speed was rather slow. Captain, can we speed up, please? The lady with glasses shouted impatiently. No, that's the max speed of my yacht. It'll be dangerous if we go any faster. Chen Zhao frowned. Their speed was clearly unusually slow. The captain must have noticed that they were in a hurry, so he deliberately slowed the yacht down in order to extort more money from them. Furthermore, his reason was very valid. Even if they called the police, it would be useless. Hey, think of a solution, the lady said anxiously. What can I do? What a useless man, the lady complained. Why don't you think of a solution to prove that you're not useless? Chen Zhao rolled his eyes and ignored the lady. Do you believe that I have many ways to get you kicked out of the crew? The lady threatened. Nope, Chen Zhao sneered. Chapter 416, Menopause. Chapter 416, Menopause. How come you stopped? Even Chen Zhao couldn't take it this time. Engine broke down, the captain said offhandedly. Then hurry and fix it, Glasses Girl yelled impatiently. The sun is too bright. Wait until the clouds come over. Chen Zhao went into the cabin and dragged the captain out. He grabbed the man and hung him over the deck. If the boat doesn't start in 10 minutes, I'll feed you to the sharks. The captain obviously just saw that Chen Zhao and Glasses Girl would be easy to take advantage of. However, Chen Zhao didn't plan on going easy on the captain. The captain almost pissed his pants. To him, Asians always stayed low-key in America. They would just bear it even when people bullied them. Who would have thought that Chen Zhao would be so aggressive and attack him directly? As expected, the boat started after the threat. Even the repair step was skipped. The boat was even faster too. Glasses Girl glanced at Chen Zhao. Barbarian. Bitch, Chen Zhao shot back. This girl kept bugging Chen Zhao to solve the problem earlier. After the problem was solved, she called him barbarian. Chen Zhao couldn't stand this. Finally, the boat reached land. Chen Zhao glanced at the captain. Stay here. If you dare to leave, I'll show you. He jumped off after threatening the captain. Glasses Girl looked at him and scoffed. Idiot. You think he'll listen to you? Chen Zhao didn't feel like responding to her. He really didn't care if the captain ran off. Amon was swimming nearby. That small boat wouldn't be able to take Amon's hit. After Glass's girl got off the boat, she didn't feel like dealing with Chen Zhao anymore either. She ran toward the small island. On the other hand, Chen Zhao wandered around. Gaia Island had basic infrastructure left behind from the fishery decades ago. But after 20 years, L.A. no longer had any fisheries nearby. There was a pier of average size, but the coast was lined with rocky beaches. Carrying a briefcase, Agatha heard Stephen's roar from far away. Agatha had worked with Stephen for 4 years. She knew practically everything about this dictator now. She missed the cruise ship in the morning because her alarm had broken. She ended up paying $300 to get over here. Not only was she late, she knew that she had to face the storm named Stephen now. Agatha, you still came? Stephen raised his voice immediately when he saw Agatha. Why don't you just disappear? Then I have a reason to get a new assistant. Mr. Stephen, someone from the crew gave me a hard time along the way. He purposely delayed me. If not for him, I would have gotten here long ago. Who is it? I don't know him, Agatha replied pitifully. He must be new. Don't ever make me wait an hour again. I hate waiting. Do you understand? This is your first time, and I hope it's your last time. If you make me wait again, I'll make you sleep on the streets. Yes, I understand, sir. Give me those documents. Stephen's volume was still very high. Agatha hurriedly handed the documents to Stephen and followed him obediently. They hadn't started filming yet, so they were still building some basic scenes. I don't need you here, Stephen said, waving his hand when he realized that Agatha was still there while he looked over the documents. Go check the infrastructure for the next scene. I don't want any emergency situations. As if freed, Agatha hurriedly bowed out. She started surveying the film site. Of course, she wasn't in charge of the work. The heads of the crew weren't under her control. At that moment, Agatha saw the strolling Asian. Chen Zhao seemed like he was on vacation. He just enjoyed the scenery along the way. Agatha immediately went up to him, pointing at him. What are you doing? Are you here to have fun? Don't you know how busy the crew is? Do you know how many people are waiting for you? How many people are waiting for me? Am I that important? Chen Zhao was confused. If you don't want to work anymore, then get out. The crew doesn't need slackers like you. Agatha took all her anger from Stephen out on Chen Zhao. Most of the crew were seniors that she couldn't offend. However, Chen Zhao looked like a rookie. She could yell at him without worry about the consequences. Chen Zhao picked at his ears and looked around. Seeing his attitude, Agatha was even more furious. What attitude is this? Do you still want to work? Don't think that I can't do anything about you. Miss, are you in menopause right now? Or you haven't had sex for too long, so your hormones are all messed up? Bullshit. Get out of here. Get out of the crew and never appear before me again. You can't decide if I stay or leave. You think I can't do anything about you? Agatha turned toward the crew. Eddie, is he part of your maintenance crew? No, Agatha. In the distance, Eddie shook his head. Most of the people saw Agatha and Chen Zhao's argument, but they didn't know Chen Zhao, so they didn't plan on getting involved. Glenn, is he from props? Nope. Film? Agatha asked doubtfully. She wasn't sure anymore. The film crew should have the most people. They were also the most important. For example, cinematographers, lighting assistants, machinery, they were all extremely important. During these times, the crew would also hire experienced professionals from outside. These kinds of film crew members had the largest voice, other than the director. Sometimes, they were even allowed to make suggestions to the director crew. When Agatha saw how indifferent Chen Zhao was, she suspected that Chen Zhao was an invited professional. These people were usually freer outside of their own duties. Their professional abilities were able to determine the final quality of the film. I don't care who you are or what you do. This is Stephen's crew, so we do things according to his rules. Don't you know that he hates people who are late the most? Finally, Agatha name-dropped Stephen to intimidate Chen Zhao. Chapter 417. You need to apologize to my friend. Chapter 417. You need to apologize to my friend? Just then, Agatha heard Stephen's voice. Hey, you're finally here. Agatha was clearly delighted. However, the next moment, she saw Chen Zhao walk up and hug Stephen. Only friends would do that. They were definitely not a superior subordinate pair. Old man, you've been playing too much recently. Chen Zhao patted Stephen's back heavily. Stop that. Cough. Stephen made a few coughs. What? He's not a crew member? He's Stephen's friend? Bastard. He must have done it on purpose. He deliberately had a conflict with me. Fire almost spurted out from Agatha's eyes. The other crew members were glad that they were not involved, or else they would be the unlucky ones. Just then, James appeared from somewhere. Behind him was a lady who looked quite pretty. Mr. Stephen, Mr. Chen, hi. When Stephen and Chen Zhao saw James, they knew at once what he had just done. Nevertheless, Stephen was too busy to care about such things, while Chen Zhao was not in the position to speak. Agatha was more frustrated by the fact that James also knew Chen Zhao. She felt as if the entire crew had been deceiving her. Everyone was trying to harm her. Stephen looked at Agatha. Agatha, you need to apologize to my friend. Mr. Stephen, Agatha realized that she had hit a hard snag. However, she was extremely disgusted by Chen Zhao. You offended my friend. Stephen stared at Agatha with a serious look. I wasn't wrong, Agatha shouted, mustering her courage. Then you're fired. Stephen did not hesitate at all. Chen Zhao similarly showed no sympathy. Since the start, this irritating woman had been making trouble herself. Chen Zhao did not think that he should forgive her. Mr. Stephen, I followed you for 4 years. You're firing me just for an outsider? Correct. If you have any other questions, please talk to my lawyer. Stephen pulled Chen Zhao away. He was not planning to have a long chat with Agatha. You'll regret this. Stephen, you bastard, tyrant. And you fucking dogs. I won't let you off. Stephen looked at Chen Zhao. Chen, you just made me lose an assistant. You need to compensate me. What the fuck? You fired her yourself. I've been experiencing lumbago recently. You should restrain yourself, old man. No way. Stephen rejected immediately. Is Amon here? Yes. The two went to the beach and saw a shipwreck in the sea, as well as someone swimming toward the shore. What's happening? Chen Zhao realized that the person was the captain who had sailed them earlier. He muttered a few lines to Stephen. Stephen widened his eyes. Is Amon that obedient? You can ask him to execute such a complicated command? Yup. I should change the script. I need to give him more shots. Stephen was unconcerned with the captain's tragic experience. In fact, he felt that the captain deserved it. Can you ask Amon to come out? Wait till that asshole's gone. I don't want him to know that I'm involved in the shipwreck. You're careful as ever. The captain swam to the shore and asked for help from the two. Stephen asked the crew members to give him a blanket. Nonetheless, they would only bring him back when they were ready to leave. The two went to the shallow water zone. Stephen asked, do we need to go a bit further? Isn't it too shallow here? Chen Zhao shook his head and clapped his hands. Immediately, waves surged toward them and a giant charged into the shallow water zone. As the thing approached them, more of its body was exposed above the sea. It was like a stranded submarine. Stephen stared at the enormous beast before him, dumbfounded. Too big. It was really too big. It was formidably huge. Amon's gigantic body was somehow realizing a suffocating aura. Can I touch him? Stephen asked in both fear and excitement. Amon's size had totally exceeded his imagination. It was such a great visual impact. It was not the kind of killer whale that Stephen was expecting. Amon was more like an ancient beast. Of course, Stephen took a few steps forward and the water reached his waist. He reached out toward Amon's body. Suddenly, Amon spouted a mouthful of water and Stephen fell into the sea. Rear. Amon made a weird sound, but it was obvious that he was pleased as he continuously slapped the water with his tail. Realizing that it was a prank, Stephen immediately turned his head. Chen, you asked Amon to do this, right? It must be you. Haha, you want to get up his back? He can take you for a ride on the sea. Can I? Of course. Stephen used all his might to get up Amon's back. Chen, aren't you coming? Nope. Amon, let him feel what it's like to be the king of the sea. Ah. Amon began to move his huge body, which was indeed tiring in the shallow water zone. When he returned to the deep zone, however, he sped up. At the beginning, Stephen was terrified, but he slowly forgot his fear and only excitement remained. He felt as if the entire sea was beneath his feet. It was a unique feeling that was hard to describe. It was as if he had regained youth. It was totally different from a ship or a speedboat. It was thrilling, intriguing, and beautiful. Roar! Stephen held on to Amon's dorsal fin. Suddenly, Amon leaped out of the sea and then back into it. Stephen saw a great white shark in Amon's mouth. It was an adult great white shark measuring 6 meters. It would have been a marine killer, but now, in front of Amon, it was insignificant. Stephen enjoyed himself for a full 10 minutes before Amon sent him back to shore. However, he was reluctant to leave. Stephen, you'll get another chance next time. When you start filming the movie, you can play all you want, as long as it won't affect your progress, Zhao said. Fine. Stephen was just being slightly playful. I can't imagine how you managed to make him so obedient. He's smart. He's very big. You sure killer whales can reach this size? You're looking at him yourself, aren't you? Fine. Chapter 418, Crazy Woman. Chapter 418, Crazy Woman. I'll have someone take you back. Stephen ordered one of the crew's boat for Chen Zhao. His work with the crew wasn't done yet, so he could only walk Chen Zhao onto the boat. Chen Zhao had to return to UCLA. Tiger was still in his recovery training these days. Recovery training was very important, so Chen Zhao had to try not to miss any days. Stephen was a workaholic. He went wild during breaks, since he was old but his heart wasn't. But once he started working, he would also work without rest. He didn't return to the pier until nighttime. As soon as he got off the boat, a figure charged over and poured some liquid onto him. Old asshole, die. Stephen and the other staff were all shocked. They thought it was acid or something else, but Stephen didn't feel any pain. Looking up, the person was already restrained. It was none other than Agatha, who he'd just fired. Take this crazy woman to the police. Stephen yelled angrily. He shook off the water on him. Had the crazy woman poured water on him to scare him? Stephen still didn't feel safe, so he went to the hospital to check. He also collected the liquid for a test. He finally felt reassured after it was confirmed that he was okay. The water that Agatha had poured on him was just normal water. By the time Agatha left the police station, it was already dawn. That old bastard Stephen and that Chinese man. I'm gonna kill you both. You two deserve to die. Agatha's features were dark and had a murderous veil. When she got home, she saw that the light was on. Who is it? She was confused. She lived alone and had no one else in her house. Agatha didn't think it was a thief either, because she'd set up a ward in her door. It would be activated if a stranger entered, but she didn't feel that her ward had gone off. It must be someone she was familiar with. Agatha pushed the door open and saw someone sitting in the living room. When the person sensed Agatha, they stood up. Hi, Agatha. Teacher Evangeline? How come you're here? Agatha gaped at her teacher. Evangeline had disappeared for 20 years and was now in front of her. What? Surprised. Teacher, where did you go these years? Evangeline smiled at Agatha and opened her arms. You grew up and matured. Agatha hesitated, but she still hugged Evangeline. She felt that Evangeline was hugging her too tightly. She couldn't breathe. Teacher, not so strongly. But instead of letting go, Evangeline hugged her even more tightly. Teacher, teacher. It felt like Agatha's ribs were about to snap, but Evangeline hugged tighter and tighter. Teacher. Agatha. Evangeline suddenly applied more strength. Crack. Finally, she let go. Agatha's body turned limp. She collapsed onto the ground, blood trickling out of her mouth. Agatha, don't be mad at me. Evangeline wriggled her body. There seemed to be something moving in her neck. Ethan was under house arrest by Li Qing these days. He wasn't even allowed to take out the garbage. He could only sit in the motel all day. It felt like he was about to die. Just then, a beautiful woman walked over. Ethan's eyes brightened. Hi, do you need a room? Yes. One person? Yes. Ethan studied this woman. She was honestly too pretty, and her clothes looked expensive too. She didn't look like the type to come to his crappy motel. I'll take you to your room. Okay. Just then, Li Qing came downstairs. When she passed by the woman, they looked at each other at the same time. They seemed to sense something. Li, watch the counter. I'll take her upstairs. Mr. Ethan, how about I take her up? You can watch the store. No, no need. I'll do it. There was no need for someone else to lead this pretty girl. He could do it himself. Maybe something lustful could happen. Ethan grew more excited as he thought about it. Mr. Ethan, your STDs haven't healed yet, Li Qing said without feeling shame. Please don't go walking around. Li, you. Ethan's face reddened. Okay, he would have no lustful events. This pretty girl definitely wouldn't get in bed with him anymore. What a pity. Miss, please follow me. Evangeline glanced at Li Qing and followed behind her. On the third floor, Li Qing slowed down and tensed slightly. Evangeline smiled faintly. You seem scared of me, Chinese witch. What are you? Li Qing stopped and looked at Evangeline with furrowed brows. Guess. Evangeline suddenly grabbed Li Qing's neck. Li Qing reacted quickly too. She somehow had a red string in her hand. The string quickly wrapped around Evangeline's wrist. Then there was a sizzling sound. Evangeline immediately pulled her arm back. She saw that there was a deep red mark on her arm. Red string burns, 7 stars light up. Li Qing turned her finger. The string came back, wrapping around her finger. She pointed forward again. Kill all evil. Evangeline was pointed in the chest. There were suddenly countless screaming souls on her. Li Qing instantly felt dizzy and retreated hurriedly. But she couldn't block the screams. They were about to burst her eardrums. Guard the heart with the lights as guidance. As soon as Li Qing cleared her mind, Evangeline grabbed her chest. Ah! Li Qing cried out. She was sent flying into the wall. Evangeline was about to climb the wall when Ethan came up the stairs. Seeing the strange-looking Evangeline, he yelled, "What's that?" Bang! Evangeline's chest was shot through, a bloody hole opening up. Arg! Evangeline roared at Ethan. Scared, Ethan fired his gun subconsciously. This time, he shot Evangeline's neck. Only half of her neck remained. She touched her neck and glared at Ethan. Ethan was about to piss his pants. What was this? She still wasn't dead? Chapter 419. You ain't going to die. Stop saying your last words. Chapter 419. You ain't going to die. Stop saying your last words. Evangeline was about to leap at Ethan when she felt a sharp pain in her back. She scratched her back and grabbed a burning white crystal. Immediately, she flung the white crystal away. Anyway, it was all that Li Qing could do. Just then, Evangeline realized that a large portion of her hand was festering. She did not know what the white crystal was, but it was hurting her greatly and continuously. Damn! Turning around, Evangeline jumped out of the window and fled. Li, how are you? Ethan quickly charged up to check Li Qing's injury. What was that? I dunno. Barf. Li Qing could not help but spit out a mouthful of dirty blood. When Ethan saw the black blood, he carried Li Qing back into her room at once. For alarming black marks were branded on Li Qing's chest. Ethan was at a loss, having never experienced anything like this before. Suddenly, Ethan thought of someone. Chen, Li, lie down first. I'll call Chen. Chen, there's a big problem. Come here now. Ethan, what time is it now? Don't tell me you've been arrested. I'm not going to bail you out. No, it's Li. She's hurt. Auntie Li, Chun Zhao was fully awakened. What happened? I don't know how to describe this. We met a monster. Are you being serious? Yes, absolutely. I'm not joking. I'm coming. Chen Zhao jumped up from the bed. Fei Lai could roughly feel Chen Zhao moving. Chun, what's happening? Ethan's sick. I need to go out. At this hour? Yes. You should go back to sleep. Chen Zhao did not want Fei Lai to worry for him. Chen Zhao drove the small truck and arrived at Ethan's motel in half an hour. Ethan, I'm here. Ethan ran down from upstairs. Chun, great. Quickly follow me. When Chen Zhao saw Li Qing's wound, he knew that it was abnormal. He immediately took out an angelic crystal and cleared the filth around the wound. Then, he removed the decaying flesh and sutured the wound. Mr. Chun, Li Qing eventually woke up. Auntie Li, what happened? Let me tell you about it. An hour ago, a very beautiful woman entered the motel and asked for a room. Li brought her to the room, but somehow they started fighting. I heard the noises and went up. The woman looked somewhat weird, so I shot her twice, once in her chest and once in her neck, but she still looked terrifying. She did not seem to mind her wounds at all. Do you have your gun with you all the time? It's under the counter. You know, I always stay open till very late, and there's always the possibility of emergencies. The noises just now were really loud, so I brought the gun. Mr. Chun. Li Qing looked at Chen Zhao. It was clear that she was still very weak. You're also special, aren't you? Chen Zhao hesitated. He knew what Li Qing meant. After a while, he nodded. I know some Western sorcery. Can you help me to take out the stuff from that box? Li Qing asked. Following Li Qing's instruction, Chen Zhao opened the box and saw many ancient books in it. These are... Mr. Chun, I'm a successor of Qingyi sect, but unfortunately, I'm the only one left. Please help me to pass down Qingyi sect. Chen Zhao gave a bitter smile. Li Qing was just feeling desperate. How could Chen Zhao accept the inheritance just like this? Auntie Li, I'm afraid. Mr. Chun, don't reject first. I'm not asking you to make Qingyi sect shine. You're really powerful. I'm only asking that if you meet a suitable person in the future, please pass the books to the person. Auntie Li, although you're injured now, it's not fatal. You don't have to find a successor immediately. Look at how old I am already. Even if I go out, nobody will become my disciple. Mr. Chun, please help me. I don't want to see Qingyi sect die in my generation. Chen Zhao smiled bitterly. Okay, I'll help you. In order to ask Chen Zhao to help, Li Qing even called herself old. Li Qing was just over 50 and was not that old. In modern society, she was, in fact, only middle-aged. Mr. Chen, while Qingyi sect is not a big clan, there are many recuperative codices, many of which could be applied to medicine. If there's anything you don't understand, don't hesitate to ask me. All right, Chen Zhao nodded. Auntie Li, do you know what attacked you earlier? I can't tell, but it should be a Western monster, Li Qing answered. The monster is not just odd, but also much stronger than a normal person. Mr. Chen, if you meet it, you mustn't take it head-on. If you discover its whereabouts, you should find a few colleagues and fight it together. Got it. Chen Zhao nodded and took out another angelic crystal. Auntie Li, please take this. Mr. Chen, vitality stones are too precious. You've already given me one earlier, which I used to fight against the monster. If the monster is still outside, you might run into it one day. You should leave it for yourself. Auntie Li, I still have more. Just take it. Ignoring Li Qing's objection, Chen Zhao placed the angelic crystal beside her pillow. Then, Chen Zhao left the room. When Ethan saw Chen Zhao carrying Li Qing's box, he asked curiously, Chen, why are you holding Li's things? She gave it to me. To you? Why not me? Did I not treat her well enough? These are all TCM books. Do you want to take a look? Oh, forget it. Chen, do you know what happened? Nope, but you need to take good care of her for a few days. Call me if there's a problem. What if we encounter that monster again? Prepare 2 more bullets. Can you give me a proper suggestion? No, I'm a doctor. What suggestions do you want from me? Zhao glanced at the ceiling. Give me the surveillance video records here. Okay. Why? I'll ask others about it. Maybe someone will know what to do. Zhao gave a random excuse. Chapter 420. The Seed Zhao Planted. Chapter 420. The Seed Zhao Planted. Sienna, are you resting? If you have something important, then I'm not sleeping. My friend was attacked by something today. I have 2 flash drives with the surveillance footage. Help me check it. Okay, come over. Zhao hurried over to Sienna's home. It was his first time visiting where Sienna, Chris, and Shirley lived. The house wasn't big, but it was in a nice neighborhood, so the monthly rent wasn't cheap. They probably lived here so Shirley could have a good environment. Sienna and Chris were waiting for Zhao in the living room. He took out the flash drives. He first played the footage from the front desk. A woman walked into the motel, and Ethan started talking to her. Huh. Sienna uttered in surprise. What, you know her? She can't be alive still. This is impossible. Why? Her name is Evangeline, a powerful witch. 20 years ago, she and my teacher and a dozen other witches went to fight a ghost ship. She never came back. What if she didn't take part in the mission? She definitely did. When I brought my teacher there back then, I saw her on the ship already. Zhao played the second video. It was the footage from the 3rd floor. Zhao also saw the entire process of Li Qing fighting Evangeline. He saw Li Qing use Eastern spells on Evangeline. Then semi-transparent apparitions appeared on Evangeline's body, and her body was distorted. Sienna cried out. I got it. What's going on? Evangeline is a death-speaking witch, or a death speaker. She's skilled in soul magic. When she fights, she can make her soul separate from her physical body and fight as a soul. It's possible that during the ghost ship battle, she hit her body first and then participated in the battle. However, the mission failed in the end. Her soul was trapped in the ghost ship. For some reason, she recently broke free and her soul returned to her body. But it's not just her. The souls of the other witches and the evil spirits also returned to her body. The dozen of witch souls and the evil spirits all combined into what she is now. What is she now? I don't know. This has never happened before. Zhao was reminded of how he and Blackie had gone to kill the ghost ship before. Blackie had destroyed the ship and most of the evil spirits, but there had been too many. The mixed souls in Evangeline were most likely the souls that escaped from that time. Might she be the one hunting witches to create the nest of curses? Zhao asked. Sienna furrowed her brows. If that's the case, then it's a problem. How big of a problem? She has so many people's souls combined. Most of them are from other witches too, so her magic must be unprecedentedly rich now. She'll know all sorts of magic, from toxicology to death-speaking, spiritology, and divination. The souls and magic abilities of the dozen witches are all combined, in addition to a dozen spirits. She'll be physically strong too. Zhao was quiet for a moment. Then he said, let's assume that she's the one killing the witches. Do you know why she would do that? No, but I must tell the other witches about this. If there are still some who are ignorant about this, they can get attacked suddenly. Is there a way to track her? I need to research, Sienna said. You decided to attack? She already hurt my friend, Zhao said. The woman in the video? Yeah, Sienna nodded. I'll help you ask now. She called Rupert and said, Rupert, is teacher beside you now? Yeah, why? There's a problem. What problem? Evangeline is still alive, and she's turned into a monster. She's the one killing the other witches. What? Rupert cried. What's going on? Sienna explained everything. Rupert was completely terrified. Evangeline had combined the souls of a dozen witches and evil spirits, possessing the knowledge, magic abilities, and power of the other witches. What kind of monster was this? Even if Rupert thought she was a genius, she still had to hesitate when faced with a monster like this. Teacher also escaped from that ghost ship. Ask her if there's a way to track Evangeline. Are you crazy? Rupert exclaimed. Why do you want to track something so dangerous? My friend, a really strong friend, will act. No matter how strong, they can't go against this kind of monster. This is seriously a monster. No one can fight against monsters. I don't know if he can win, but if even he can't, then we'll probably have to leave LA, otherwise Evangeline will most likely find us. I doubt you'd want to face a monster like that. Okay, I got it. I'll ask teacher. Rupert hung up. Camilla had already floated over to her. Was that Sienna? Teacher, there's a big problem. If it can make you this scared, it must be very serious. Camilla looked seriously at Rupert. She was always fearless about everything. Camilla had never seen such an expression on her. Rupert told Camilla what Sienna had said. Camilla's expression changed as well. Even back then, I felt that her magic lacked something, but I didn't know what. Now, I finally understand. She'd forcefully turned herself into a monster. What a pity. Teacher, do you have a solution? How can I have a solution? Evangeline has already become an irreversible monster. Even if I'm alive, I'd still turn and run if I see her, let alone as a soul like now. So there's no solution at all? I don't know. I can't think of anyone who can beat her. Sienna said that she has a powerful friend who might be able to beat her. She wants you to help and track Evangeline. Impossible. It's too dangerous. But Sienna insists. No, Camilla said firmly. Go now and restrain Sienna. We can't let her mess around. Okay, I'll go tomorrow. No, go now. But it's already 3 a.m. I want to sleep. Say that again? Okay, I'll go now. Chapter 421. That's a monster that no human can defeat. Chapter 421. That's a monster that no human can defeat. Rupert arrived at Sienna's place and stood outside the door. Teacher, how do you think I should subdue Sienna? You're a toxicologist. Just give her a curse combo, Camilla said. Don't hesitate. Knock on the door and cast your spells once the door opens. Fine. Rupert rubbed her hands, looking somewhat nervous. Although she was more powerful than Sienna, Sienna was her senior. After all, they had the same teacher. Curses would more or less harm Sienna. Rupert had never cast any spells on her friends before. I'll cast weak, then blind, then confusion, and lastly hypnosis. Will these do? Rupert asked. Yes. With Sienna's reaction, she certainly won't be able to resist. It'll be enough, Camilla nodded. Knock, knock. Rupert knocked on the door and also took out her staff. The door opened. Rupert immediately cast weak. However, the next moment, a large hand grabbed Rupert's shoulder and lifted her into the air. Astonished, Camilla was about to attack Zhao. Zhao looked at Camilla and pointed his finger at her. Sleep? Camilla fell asleep at once. Rupert was flabbergasted. What? Although her teacher was in soul state, she had at least 80% of her original powers. But the person before them had managed to hypnotize her instantly. Importantly, with Camilla's magical resistance, why would she fall asleep that easily? It's you, Rupert shouted. Let me go. It's painful. Oh, I remember you. Zhao recognized Rupert as the girl who had suddenly run away the previous day. Her rubber ball had activated his cursed eye. Zhao had been very much puzzled by all that, but now he finally got it. The girl was also a witch. She had been trying to sneak attack him the day before. Clearly, she did not expect Zhao to activate the cursed eye and ruin the attempt. Today, she tried to attack him again. Zhao was determined to beat her up for her wicked action. Huh. Chen. Rupert. Teacher, what's happening? Just then, Sienna walked out. Chen Zhao turned his head and asked, Sienna, do you know her? She's my junior, and the soul is my teacher. What happened to her? Huh? Is she asleep? Can souls fall asleep? Sienna, save me. He's going to kill me. Rupert grasped at straws at once. Just as Chen Zhao put Rupert back onto the floor, she took a few steps back and was about to attack him again. Chen Zhao's cursed eye, as well as the mouth of Glutton, opened. Stop. Rupert, what's wrong? Why are you attacking my friend? He's your friend? What do you think? Rupert moved her eyes in thought. Brother, I'm sorry. It's my mistake. Are you thinking about admitting defeat first and then attacking me? Chen Zhao would not believe Rupert easily. No, of course not. I would like to make a deal with you. What? Someone wants me to attack you. The person will pay me a lot for that. You pretend that you're defeated by me. When I receive the money, we'll split it. And how much is that? 820,000, Rupert replied. Wait, I'm in. Sienna was energized when she heard the amount. Aren't you going to ask for my opinions first? Chun, I really need some money now. You won't reject my request, will you? Sienna emphasized greatly on the word request as she stared at Chen Zhao with watery eyes. Who wants you to attack me? Chen Zhao asked. Someone called Pierce South. Rupert betrayed Pierce without hesitation. Chen Zhao's face darkened straight away. Do you know where he is? No. If you can find him for me, I'll give you 50,000. You won't need me to pretend to be defeated by you. Chen Zhao really hated Pierce. He did not look for Pierce, but Pierce had been wanting to harm him. He originally asked me to kill you. I rejected, Rupert added. So can you find him or not? It's hard, Rupert admitted, helpless. Should we go in and talk? Also, Chun, what happened to my teacher? She's your teacher? Yes, if she offended you. I do apologize for her. She's just hypnotized. She's fine. How do we wake her up? Sienna was surprised that Chen Zhao could hypnotize a soul, but she knew all along how powerful Chen Zhao was. Although her teacher had been very strong while alive, she was probably no match for Chen Zhao even at her best state. Wait for 12 hours, or attack her. While Chen Zhao could make a person or soul fall asleep, they would still have their instincts. Receiving damage would cause them to wake up. Sienna cast a small spell and Camilla was immediately awakened in shock. Rupert, Sienna, run. Air. Teacher, Chen's my friend. Your friend? Yes, my friend. Camilla stared at Chen Zhao in doubt. What did you cast on me just now? Why was I hypnotized? Banshee's charm. Camilla's expression changed. You know Banshee's charm? Yes. Teacher, what's Banshee's charm? We've never heard of it before, Rupert and Sienna both asked out of curiosity. All sleeping spells developed from Banshee's charm. Camilla looked at Chen Zhao. Nobody could cast Banshee's charm. That's why people were forced to change it into the different weaker versions today. Rupert and Sienna also stared at Chen Zhao with a different look. Chen Zhao shrugged. Camilla looked at Sienna. Is he the one whom you said is going to fight Evangeline? Yup. Chen's really powerful, Sienna answered. Indeed, but I'm unsure if he can defeat Evangeline, Camilla said. That's a monster created from the souls of more than 10 witches and other evil spirits, a monster new to the world. She has not only potent spells, but also extraordinary strength. I'm quite confident about the strength part, Chen Zhao said. If she's merely a dozen times stronger than a normal person, I should be able to deal with her. No way. No human can possess such great strength. Chapter 422. Your curse is tasty. Chapter 422. Your curse is tasty. I don't have to prove it to you. I only need you to find that monster for me. You really want to fight that monster? Camilla asked. I can help you find her, but you have to promise that Sienna and Rupert won't get involved or be in danger. I don't need their help, Chen Zhao said. Teacher, can you really find Evangeline? Sienna asked, surprised. I'm familiar enough with her. We were once friends. Can we do it now? Camilla shook her head. She's hurt. She won't appear so easily. Then fine. Notify me whenever you think you can find her. Chen Zhao glanced at Rupert. What about you, little girl? When can you find Pierce South? Don't call me little girl, or else I'm gonna curse you. Rupert exploded. I'll tell you when I find him. Chen Zhao patted her head and turned around with a smile. Suddenly, he felt his body turn heavy. The mouth of gluttony opened and sucked Chen Zhao's body. He instantly recovered. Turning to Rupert, he said, You just tossed weak at me? What? You're going to attack me? Rupert looked guardedly at him. She was actually nervous that Chen Zhao would attack her. No, toss me some more curses. I think your spell was quite tasty. Chen Zhao wasn't lying. Rupert's curse was indeed tasty. At least, it was tastier than swallowing the disasters and nest of curses. The only flaw was that it wasn't as powerful. Everyone's magic tasted differently to the mouth of gluttony. Different people would have different flavors. The mouth of gluttony was clearly interested in Rupert's curse. Fuck you. Get the fuck out. Rupert was deeply hurt. She thought her curses were very powerful, but to Chen Zhao, it was just tasty? This comment was too much. She glared at Chen Zhao with clenched teeth. She decided that she would never curse Chen Zhao again. After spending the entire night at Sienna's house, the sky was already lightening as he went home. When he arrived, it was already 7 in the morning. Feilai was already up. Chun, you're so late. No, how come you're so early? How is Ethan's condition? Chen Zhao kissed her. It's okay. Not dangerous. Are you going out? Feilai looked at him. She still felt bad for Chen Zhao. She knew that, because of his job, he would run into many emergencies. But she still hoped that Chen Zhao could rest more, instead of pushing himself to the limits. I think you should rest today. I'll rest in the morning and see in the afternoon, Chen Zhao said. After Feilai left, Chen Zhao called Tiger. Tiger, come to my place for training in the afternoon. My address is 21 Mirror Lake, Mountain Town. Turn left at the vet billboard on Route 21. After giving Tiger directions, Chen Zhao fell straight asleep. In the afternoon, Tiger's calls woke him up. Tiger had seen Chen Zhao's RV before, so he knew that Chen Zhao was pretty rich. However, he was still shocked when he saw the house. The RV cost more than the house, but it wasn't as impressive. Tiger had still been hospitalized during the housewarming party, so Chen Zhao didn't invite him. This was his first time at Chen Zhao's house. His eyes inadvertently turned envious. Hi. Chen Zhao came downstairs, shirtless with a toothbrush in his mouth. Take a seat. Do you want to drink anything? Other than alcohol. Tiger had healed, but he was still recovering, so he couldn't drink. Plus, an athlete's basic requirement was to watch what they ate. Any drink is fine, Tiger said. There are energy drinks in the fridge. Help yourself. Chen Zhao got dressed and came back out. Take this card. Mr. Chen, what's this? From now on, I'll send $20,000 into your card every month. Why? I said before that I'll invest in you. This $20,000 is my investment. I'll send it until you can make money by yourself. How much did an athlete need every month? Even just looking at food, Rufford's basic nutrition meals cost at least $200 per day. As a heavyweight athlete, Tiger couldn't afford his meals at all. Even regular food was stressful for his family. Chen Zhao knew that Tiger accepted some illegal gigs. After all, it wasn't a big secret. This is the money for your food and training. I'll also introduce you to a professional trainer. They're obviously really skilled. I learned my techniques from them. Can you imagine that they beat me up before? Mr. Chen, stop joking. No one can beat you up. I'm not lying. I was once beaten up badly by that trainer. I wanted to learn boxing to take revenge, but then they ended up as my trainer. Tiger was shocked. Did you get revenge? We became friends. Tiger didn't expect this story. Chen Zhao continued, but you'll still do rehabilitation training with me. You also have to listen to me for your diet. I understand. Today's task is swimming. Mirror Lake is 2 kilometers wide. I want you to swim to the end and back. Boxing wasn't just punching, punching, punching all day. Boxers had to train in many other sports too. For example, swimming was something practically all boxers did. Long-distance swimming could improve a boxer's endurance. Aerobic exercise was helpful for Tiger's recovery too. Chen Zhao also got into the water to accompany Tiger. Tiger was too heavy. He chose the 86 kilograms and above weight class. He weighed about 98 kilograms, which was pretty standard. Even though the boxer only had to meet the requirement for the 86 kilogram and above weight class, there was still a threshold. The closer you were to the threshold, the better your performance would be. The range was around 50 kilograms. Higher than that, your weight would weigh you down. Lower than that, your force would be affected. Tiger's weight stopped him from improving his swimming speed. This was also a great burden. Tiger, watch the rhythm of your breathing. Chapter 423, Evil Intention. Chapter 423, Evil Intention. After Tiger left, Chen Zhao brought Samuel to the supermarket in town. Hey, Chen, you here again for dog food? Every time, Chen Zhao would fill the cart with various dog foods. The staff in the pet section have known him for a long time. Chen Zhao's pets would often appear in town, and many people also knew where his house was. After all, if they went to Mirror Lake, it was impossible to miss such a huge house. Mirror Lake was now private property, but Chen Zhao did not forbid people from entering. Those who were not invited or his friends could still play near the lake, as long as they did not enter the villa zone. Yeah, every time, the manager will praise me because the products here are sold extremely fast. He probably doesn't know that you buy most of them. Actually, have you been eating dog food yourself? The employee teased. Fuck, Chen Zhao said. If you want to try them, I'll treat you for a year. Meow. Human, become my servant. You shall enjoy my kindness. Chun, does your cat like me? He shouts at me every time.
Yes.
Chen Zhao grabbed Samuel's neck and lifted him into the air. He does that to everyone. As Chen Zhao left the checkout counter with a large number of items, he did not notice 2 pairs of eyes staring at him. That Chinese looks rich. I heard he owns a huge villa near Mirror Lake. Marion and Trigly were gangsters in town and frequent visitors to the police station. Nevertheless, they had never been kept for more than 2 days. Such gangsters could be found in almost every town, and they would never reduce in number. Human society was really weird. It always seemed to be full of special characters, both good and bad. I heard Chinese are really timid, Marion said. Trigly's eyes glittered. They were strapped for cash again. To them, as long as they could get money, they would do anything. Go. The same method, Trigly said. Experienced, Marion walked up and collided with Chen Zhao's cart. Ah! Marion screamed. Before Chen Zhao could react, he knocked Marion onto the floor and pushed the cart onto Marion's body. Chen Zhao quickly pulled the cart back. With 20 packs of dog food in it, the cart was quite heavy. It was obvious that the person had deliberately run into his cart. Chen Zhao was not that easy to deceive. As he pulled the cart back, Marion screamed again. What have you done? Trigly charged forward and pushed Chen Zhao. I need a doctor. I need a doctor. Looking at Marion's realistic wailing, Trigly thought that Marion's acting had improved greatly. He had no idea that Marion was really in pain. Marion was not only hit by the cart, but also literally run over. Kid, how do you think we should settle this? Trigly seized Chen Zhao's collar. What do you want? Chen Zhao asked back. Compensation. My buddy's injured by you, so you either pay us or we'll sue you till you're bankrupt. Trigly shouted angrily. How much do you want? 100,000. Trigly shouted. Chen Zhao grabbed a pack of dog food and flung it at Trigly's head. He did not dare to use his fist. With his current strength, he was unsure if he would kill Trigly in one punch. How much do you want again? Didn't hear you properly. You dare to hit me? Do you want to be sent back? Trigly roared. If I call the police now and tell them that you tried to extort 100,000 from me, who do you think the police will believe? I think it's enough for you to stay in jail for 3 years. Zhao smiled gently. Trigly and Marion were awake at once and even stopped yelping. The police could not do much to them for small crimes. They would at most be detained for a few days before being freed. As professional gangsters, they knew that there was a line they must not cross. An example was stealing over $1,000, which would lead to a criminal proceeding. However, because Zhao was a Chinese, they asked for 100,000 in their hot-headedness. Of course, they knew that there was no way they would get that amount. They thought that they would obtain at most $1,000 or $2,000. Clearly, they did not expect Zhao to threaten them instead. Just you wait. Trigly helped Marion up from the floor, and they ran away. Zhao did not even bother to stop them. They were not the only gangsters in town. It was also not the first time such a thing had happened. The residents of Mountain Town were quite brave. While there were many onlookers, nobody called the police. To them, it was only a small conflict. They were glad that Zhao had taught the two gangsters a lesson. Whistling, Zhao returned to his truck only to find one wheel missing and the windows were broken. The culprits were obvious. Zhao roared at once, "Don't let me catch you, or I'll break your limbs." Gritting his teeth, Zhao called for his truck to be towed to a repair shop. Towing cost $200, while the repair would also cost $200 or $300. Although it was not a big amount, Zhao was very displeased. Trigly, didn't you say that Chinese are timid? Why did that asshole resist? Marion complained. How would I know? I can't just leave like this. What else do you want? We've already broken his truck, Trigly said. That Chinese has such a nice house. There must be many valuable items inside. Let's go there at night. We might just be lucky. What if he sees us? Bring our knives. If we're really discovered, gloom flashed across Marion's face. We'll stab him. Seriously? If we're found, we'll be doomed, Trigly said reluctantly. But if we find anything valuable, we'll be rich. Marion licked his lips. Are you in or not? Yes, but if we're seen, we should run away if we can. We don't have to kill. Trigly was still hesitant. After all, he had only committed small crimes in the past. He was used to being arrested into a police station. Nonetheless, he really did not want to end up in jail. If he killed someone, his life would be over. Chapter 424, Amazing Adventures of Trigly and Marion. Chapter 424, Amazing Adventures of Trigly and Marion. At night, Trigly and Marion snuck to the other end of Mirror Lake. Marion, when will we go in? What's the hurry? Don't you see the lights are still on? You want to go in now and get killed? Then how long do we have to wait for? Shut up. Just wait until they turn off the lights. It's only 8 p.m., Trigly said a bit unwillingly. I think they'll need at least 2 or 3 hours. I'd rather go to a bar and get girls. I won't stop you if you want to quit, Marion said. But don't think about splitting the profits when I get rich. Fine, I'll listen to you. Trigly acquiesced in the end. Trigly and Marion bore the mosquitoes and bugs until 11 p.m. The lights in the house finally dimmed. We can go now. Trigly and Marion went around Mirror Lake. But before they could get close, a huge bear suddenly appeared before their eyes. Roar! They practically pissed their pants. This bear was too big, too terrifying. They turned to run, but then a black wolf appeared behind them. The black wolf stared at them with green eyes. When it opened its maw, the two saw glistening white fangs. Completely freaked out, Trigly and Marion jumped into the lake. They just hoped that the huge bear and wolf wouldn't get into the water. But before they started swimming, a wave came. There was something in the water. They both realized this problem. In the direction of the ripples, there was a knife-like thing standing up in the water. Using the moonlight, they could vaguely see something over the water. The thing underwater was definitely not small. Escape was what they were both thinking, but they couldn't swim toward the water beast or go on land. They could only swim toward the house. Thankfully, the water beast pursuing them wasn't very fast. The two used all their might. They felt like they could break a world record. Finally, they reached land, but then they saw a fiery red lizard crawl toward the water. The lizard was huge. It was definitely big enough to eat them. Plus, lizards could swim. So the two jumped back into the water as soon as they got on land. Lizards can't go underwater. Let's go to the bottom of the lake. But there's a bigger one underwater. It doesn't look too deep here. That big guy probably can't get close. Are you sure? No? But if we stay here, that lizard will discover us. Marion dove into the water. Trigly followed him in. Underwater, they could vaguely see a huge beast pacing around in the distance. It was nighttime and they were underwater, so they couldn't see clearly at all. Just then, Trigly discovered a man-made entrance. He gestured at Marion. Marion was running out of air, so he ducked into the entrance. Seeing him do that, Trigly also followed suit. The tunnel wasn't very long. It was only around 4 or 5 meters. They soon broke through the water. Hey, this is inside the house. We're in. It should be the basement. So dark, Trigly couldn't see the surroundings, but being on solid ground reassured him. Marion, did you bring a flashlight?
Yes.
Marion took off the flashlight hanging on his hip. Water got in. He slapped the flashlight. It lit up and then went off again. He tried a few other times and dried out the water. Finally, it lit up again. The two started creeping around carefully. Rich people have such weird interests, Trigly said. He actually has a tunnel connecting the basement to the lake. Isn't he afraid thieves would come in? Clearly, he forgot that he was a thief. Isn't that better? He gave us a chance. Marion laughed. Wait, Marion, your flashlight shone on something. Trigly suddenly cried out. Go back again. Be quiet, Marion reminded. But he still followed Trigly's request and shone the light back. It was an empty wall. Nothing was there. There's nothing here. Thud. A strange noise came out of nowhere. Frightened, Trigly grabbed onto Marion's arm. Don't touch me. Marion shook him off. Did you step on something? No, Trigly said, terrified. That wasn't me. That's weird. Where did the sound come from? Marion suddenly pulled his flashlight back, and they saw something flash past the lit-up area. It was only a blur, but the two could see that the thing was huge. There really is something. What is it? Trigly was even more frightened. Hurry, we can't stay here, Marion decided. The two immediately rushed into the water, but they felt something slippery underfoot. Marion shone the light into the water. They saw a snake's head dart out of the water. There were countless snakeheads, all huge and strangely shaped. It looked like many snakes tangled together. Hiss, hiss. The two backed out of the tunnel in fear. By then, many snakeheads had come out of the water. Marion and Trigly also saw the full body. It wasn't a cluster of snakes. It was a creature with many heads. Them, or it. It has 9 heads. A 9-headed snake? Marion trembled in fear. Even though this 9-headed snake wasn't as huge as in the myths, it was still frightening. The two were covered in goosebumps. They retreated into a corner in fear. Suddenly, they backed into something. It wasn't a hard wall. It should be an animal's body. Huge. That was the first word that popped into their minds. Shuddering, they fell to the ground, while the light shone on the thing. It looked like a huge dog, but its body was a bit too much. It was bigger than a horse. The moment that the dog turned its head, Marion and Trigly honestly pissed their pants in fright. From the side, they only thought that it was a huge dog, but now they finally saw the dog's full appearance. Chapter 425, Guinea Pig Volunteers. Chapter 425, Guinea Pig Volunteers. Cerberus. It was actually Cerberus. All three heads had red lights in their mouths. It was hellfire. Both Trigly and Marion felt death approaching. It was different from the Hydra. While the Hydra did manage to astonish them, it was only 3 meters long. After all, the Hydra was at most a huge python and not nearly as formidable as the legendary monster which could turn seas upside down. Hellhound was different. It was a giant measuring 3 meters in shoulder height and over 5 meters in length. Marion fled at once. So did Trigly. The two charged to the other side of the room, opened the door, and bolted in. The next instant, they felt a cloud of fog float past them. It was as if they were standing in the clouds. When they cleared the cloud and looked before them, they were bewildered once again. They saw a magnificent castle towering right in front. It was a giant castle that was hard to describe, one more imposing than any architecture they had seen before. Entirely white, the spire of the castle soared into the clouds and merged perfectly with the sky. An animal seemed to be flying and circling around the spire. The animal also discovered the two. Thousands of meters away from them, it suddenly dove toward them. Bang! When the animal landed, the two could feel the ground shake. The animal looked both like a dragon and a bird. It was enormous, about 8 or 9 meters long. It had sharp claws on both its feet, and its tail was thin and long. Its wings looked like those of a bat, while its head resembled a dinosaur. The two immediately attempted to escape through the door behind them, but the door was nowhere to be found. The wyvern stuck its head toward the two. Trigly and Marion turned around and ran. With tacit understanding, they ran in different directions. However, the wyvern's tail reached out and caught Trigly at once. Marion was in deeper peril as the wyvern grabbed him with its mouth. "Ah, Trigly, save me, save me." Marion was still alive and resisting. He drew his gun and fired at the wyvern's mouth. In pain, the wyvern threw Marion onto the ground. However, Marion could no longer stand. His entire body was covered in blood. He could only crawl with his hands. The wyvern smacked Marion with its paw. "Ah. Huh." Blackie was alarmed. He felt death. Someone was about to die here. Was it Chen Zhao? Blackie quickly left the castle and floated toward the place of death. It was not Chen Zhao. Blackie was reassured as he confirmed that the intruders were not Chen Zhao. Grim Reaper. Both Marion and Trigly saw Blackie, who looked identical to the Grim Reaper they knew. Blackie ignored the two and left the space crevice directly. Once he entered the villa, he informed Chen Zhao at once. "Chen Zhao, stop playing. 2 people just entered my territory from your basement." Chen Zhao trembled. Below him, Fei Lai gave a loud moan as her body shivered. "Chen, why are you so quick today?" Chen Zhao patted his forehead and said, "Hellhound and Little Nine are fighting. I need to check on them." "How did you know?" "I just do. Should we hire a maid?" "I'll take care of it." Chen Zhao put on his pants and rushed downstairs. Chen Zhao entered the basement and saw many watery footprints on the floor. A key was also inserted in the magic door. "I forgot to withdraw the key," Chen Zhao said as he pushed the door open. Then, he saw a wyvern toying with Marion. It was also grabbing a person with its tail, who was Trigly. Chen Zhao knew that the two did not come here with good intentions. Not far away, there was even a gun on the floor. At the moment, Marion was already 1 step away from dying. Constrained by the wyvern's tail, Trigly was also startled, although he was not injured. "Let them go," Chen Zhao shouted. When the wyvern saw Chen Zhao, it first showed its teeth fiercely, but as it smelled Chen Zhao, it was clearly terrified. Chen Zhao did not care about Marion and Trigly, but wyverns were food, after all. He had no plans to feed them with living humans. The wyvern left Marion and Trigly and fled via the air. The dying Marion stared at Chen Zhao, his eyes filled with a begging look. On the other hand, Trigly's face was filled with horror. Even though Chen Zhao was only wearing a casual pair of pants, he still looked frightening. After all, Chen Zhao had just scared the monster away. The Grim Reaper was following him. Who is he? What does he have in his house? Cerberus, Hydra, and the monster in the lake. Bear, wolf, lizard. Are they all his pets? The huge biped monster just now fled upon seeing him. Clearly, the Chinese before them was even scarier than the biped monster. Who is he? A demon king? How do we handle them? Blackie asked. Leave them here. I just happen to need living humans for experiments, Chen Zhao said. Ask the underlings to bring them in. Soon, Trigly and Marion saw countless small, green monsters surge toward them and carry them into the castle. Chen Zhao performed a simple treatment for Marion just so that he would not die. Nevertheless, Chen Zhao did not plan to let the two have a good life. They had broken into his house with a gun. It was clear what they were planning to do. Moreover, they had already discovered his secrets. There was no way he would release them. It would be a waste to kill them. After all, Chen Zhao and Blackie had many experiments that required living subjects. Of course, Blackie would not perform them himself. He must not kill, after all, or he would be punished. But Chen Zhao did not have such a restriction. Since he killed the first person, he had already overcome the psychological barrier. Chen Zhao had never killed an innocent person before. Sir, let me go. Let me go. I promise I won't say anything. I swear to God. Trigly was sent into a cage. Chen Zhao sneered. Then you shouldn't even have entered in the first place. Also, do I look like I believe in God? Trigly shivered. Demon. He's definitely a demon from hell. Or maybe he's Satan himself. Good. You look scared of me. That's excellent. Lord, I swear allegiance to you in your name. I don't need you. Why do I need a loyal piece of trash? Chen Zhao really did not know how he could use the two gangsters apart from guinea pigs for his experiments. Ignoring the risk of releasing them, what could they even do for him? Earn money? Or gain territory? Turning his head, Chen Zhao said to the underlings, watch them closely. If they escape, I'll feed all of you to the wyverns. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.